and is only suitable for people aged 18 or over, will almost certainly have an adult theme, and might well contain sex or violence, which are quite graphic. It may also contain explicit language, including sexual swear words. Thanks for listening.
But here's what his revelation comes to him. And he's kind of got all this stuff like touching, wiping, mourning of the animals.
Not wiping, whipping.
Yeah. Also, not touching. Also not touching.
I am dyslexic. I hope I'm not having like a stroke.
Do it live! Fuck it! Do it live!
And then atheists almost always become supporters of eugenics and abortion.
A swine is hungry for nuts. Jesus hates him too.
Satan is real.
Being a Satanist is an open declaration of revolt against counterproductive received wisdom and mindless rogue tradition.
Decapitate her head off. We're done. You're done.
Obama! I got a word from you. I got a word of knowledge, a word of prophecy. And I want you, preacher, to use this word of prophecy ever, whithersoever you go. God's going to put a cancer in the butthole of every sodomite. Right there. I'm James David Manning. You ain't seen nothing yet. Flame coming out of his butthole. It'll burn and burn and burn. Right there. Fire, he's got a flame coming out of his butthole. This is the Lord's word. You ain't seen nothing yet. Didn't God declare you in the butthole? When God will get cancer in the butthole. Fire, he's got a flame coming out of his butthole. It'll burn and burn and burn. I'm going to become a sodomite slayer. Barack Hussein Obama. You're going to see this going to be a wonder to behold. You're going to see the power of God fall upon the power of Allah, what God said. I'm James David Manning in the butthole, flame coming out of his butthole. Didn't God declare you will get cancer in the butthole? Well, God will destroy you. Hallelujah. And amen. And amen. And amen.
And amen.
That's the Pastor Manning rap.
That was a little something that Ryan put together for your listening enjoyment. Well, that was fucking awesome, man.
That was awesome.
I was bored at work on Saturday morning, and I was sitting at the kitchen table doing that, and one of the guys came in and just kept going, in the butthole! In the butthole!
Burn and burn!
And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, you ever hear this Pastor Manning dude? Yeah, he says some crazy shit and I make it into a rap.
Well, welcome to the Godless Revolution. This is episode 102. 102. And we have the full cast with us this evening.
Yay, scheduling!
Yay! Yeah, I fucked up big time last week.
No, you know what's the worst part about it? Is that I went down there to finish that painting, showed up, waited for like 45 minutes for him to get there. He was still on duty. He gets off. Then people just showed up to rent it out. So there was people in one of the there's only 2 alleys for the cages or whatever. So they weren't really in my way, except that I need the lights off and some other stuff that wouldn't work if they're there.
Yeah.
And then while they were just about to wrap up, so I've been there like an hour now, or hour and a half. They're just about to wrap up. The weather was bad, so he gets a call from 2 different baseball teams who'd canceled practice and wanted to come down. He's like, can I just reschedule? Yeah, I'm like, sure. But it was already too late to make it up here, and I ended up doing nothing. So
those fuck cunts.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, it's nobody's fault. It's just shit that happens, you know.
Well, I totally fucked the schedule.
On your end, yeah, that was, no.
I totally fucked that up.
But that happens, all good.
No, I still feel like a dick about it just because I didn't fucking check the goddamn calendar, apparently.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That's all good. And Kyle and Grant did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, I like those guys. I'm Dan Ellis.
Oh, yeah, you are. That's true.
To my left is Meowt Mitchell.
Meowt.
And I'm Ryan Duffy, your conductor.
That's that guy.
Well, I got the control, so I can make you quiet whenever I want.
You are, as a listener, referred to the dyslexic firefighter.
Yes.
We got a message from listener Aaron who said that he's listening to social commentary from the IRS's resident Viking, a dyslexic firefighter, and that one guy is the best part of my week. I love the show and the topics.
Yeah. And then he does name me eventually by saying he's sorry. Noiing memorable for a nickname.
Well, you weren't on last week's show, so he wasn't thinking about you when you listened to that one.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So
you are the meowt. Meow.
Yeah, that's true.
Meow Mitchell.
It happens.
Noiing memorable.
Now you have a nickname. Meow. Meowt.
But we got our new logo up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like it very much.
It's cool.
I've contracted with a friend of mine who's a graphics designer, and we've been in negotiations back and forth for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Negotiations.
Well, because he has a full-time day job, and so he's just kind of doing this as a little bit of extra work on the side for me, and I think it's turning out very well. It's still not entirely done. We still need to get the whole package for all of the places and junk and stuff, but
okay.
I like what we've got out there for the new logo-ish thing.
Indeed.
And our little profile pic on the page.
Hopefully we'll be putting it on stuff so you could get stuff with it on it. And have stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, he sent an email that I just haven't had a chance to reply to yet, asking where we needed and all that kind of stuff. So just got to get that back to him, and then we'll have that to put out in all the places. Also very excited to let everybody know, I posted it to the page earlier, that we are now available on Google Play Music.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's Google's iTunes. However, the podcast capability isn't available in all of the Google Play Now apps yet.
Oh, so it's exactly like iTunes.
In the email that they sent to me, they said that they'll be rolling that out in waves to different users. So it may not be available on your phone app or your tablet app yet, but you can still get to it through the website. I posted a link to it out on our Facebook page. So you can find that on our Twitter account also, because I have that set to automatically feed our Twitter account. So I actually think I need to change our logo on the Twitter. I don't think I've done that yet. On the Twitter. Did you hear that? I'm the old guy who says the Twitter.
Well, it's the Twitters of the twatters.
The Twitter.
Well, Facebook was going to be the Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of that comes from.
Initially.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that episode of The Office where Jim went dressed as Facebook for Halloween, and all he did was just write the word book?
Oh,
like B-O on one side of his nose and OK on the other.
I am the popular social networking site known as Bookface.
I did love that show.
I miss it. That was one of my favorites. Anyway, we've got lots of news stuffs to cover this evening. Mm-hmm. I know Matt has brought a bunch. We've got a bunch sitting here on the computer. You want to kick us off, Matthew?
Oh, sure.
Throwing you on the spot.
It's all good.
That's what we do.
Your favorite, Todd Starnes.
He's not my favorite.
Oh, he's not?
No.
Second?
He's not my least favorite, but he's not my favorite.
Well, this article's awesome. When it comes to pandering, nobody does it better than Hillary Clinton, who is desperate to become the nation's first black female president.
What?
Yeah.
Is he colorblind as well?
I don't know if he thinks that this is
funny.
This is not being racist by Fox News standards or what, but
so say that again.
When it comes to pandering, nobody does it better than Hillary Clinton, who's desperate to become the nation's first black female president.
Well, they say that Bill Clinton was the first black president
because he played jazz.
I've heard that said in many places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know this is Fox News, but...
Or is it in reference to her hot sauce comment?
Not everyone you disagree with is automatically black.
Or is it because of the whole... She did with Bill de Blasio?
Oh, yeah.
That whole deal?
I'll do that one later.
All right.
In her latest outreach to New York City's black voters, Mrs. Clinton told hip-hop radio show hosts that she carried a bottle of hot sauce in her purse. It was an apparent homage to the lyric Formation, Beyonce's latest hit song, or as Hot Sauce Hillary calls her, Beyonce.
Beyonce?
But I'll get into that faux pas later, says Starnes. Because he's so in touch with black culture in America.
Well, it did seem like in the video, it seemed like she was pandering quite a bit towards them.
Oh, she's good at pandering. There's no doubt about it.
She even almost admitted it in the video.
Yeah.
Quote, I got hot sauce in my bag. Swag is how the song goes. Mrs. Clinton's revelation that she likes it a little spicy came to a surprise to some of the hosts of Power 105.1's Breakfast Club. Here's the transcript. Angela, what's something you always carry with you? Clinton, hot sauce. Well, it turns out she really does like hot sauce a lot. So if she really does, then what's the problem?
She is from the South. Not deep South.
No,
but
she's from New York. She just won her home state.
She moved to New York.
The Clinton campaign confirmed to Time magazine that Mrs. Clinton enjoys an array of spicy foods, from chili flakes to jalapenos. To be fair, her love affair with hot sauce goes back 20 years. So how is this pandering?
Well, in the actual interview, right towards the end of it, one of the hosts said, "Are you trying to pander to us?" And she said, "Would that be a problem? Is it working?"
Yeah, that's at the end of this. But still, I mean, if she,
politicians do that. Yeah, just as a
she
profession.
Could have been joking.
Yeah. I mean, it's if she actually carries it.
It's
but anyway,
like it's what they do.
Yeah.
But I mean,
but I honestly don't doubt that she does like hot sauce, being from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Or because she's a human. I mean, I like it too, and I'm from Massachusetts.
Well, I'm from the Midwest where hot sauce isn't a thing.
Right, but...
You mean ketchup?
Yeah.
But I mean, I carry hot sauce around sometimes. That doesn't mean that I'm trying to get black friends.
Yeah.
No, but...
Anyway, TMZ opined that it was a, quote, clear attempt to snag New York's black vote. And I just don't think... Yeah. Starnes says, I would have demanded that she produce the bottle. But that's probably why she refuses to come on my radio program.
Is he a bottlist?
Yeah, he's a bottlist. and yeah, I'm sure it's because of his pedantic ambush-style browbeating. Yeah, probably. Who would want to go on that?
I would have said bottler, but that wouldn't... Is he a bottlerist?
Botanist?
There's the birther movement.
A botanist?
That's a thing.
The truthers and... What would you... So bottler doesn't really fit because that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Bottlerist? Bottle spiceless?
Hotsist?
A hotsist? A hotsa saucist.
A Dylan Ferner. I don't know.
An infernoist. I don't know. Fuck it. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess. They went on to, let's see. Radio host said, now I just want you to know people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people. That's when Hillary said, is it working? Starnes says, no, it's not working. What in the name of Texas Pete, he says, is she thinking?
Who the fuck is Texas Pete?
No, it's a substitute swear word, and it's a fucking horrible one.
Well,
but also, Hillary Clinton does have a massive black base.
Uh-huh.
Texas Pete's a hot sauce.
So Starnes is saying that no, it's not working, but yet it actually is. Anyway, last January she was named the radio station's Donkey of the Day for being inauthentic and for pandering to black people, said the Washington Post. The radio host said that Hot Sauce Hillary was trying to reach black voters in a, quote, grandma trying to be hip kind of way.
What's wrong with grandmas trying to be hip, man?
Yeah, and except that Hillary really does like hot sauce.
Yeah.
So.
And black people.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's his biggest problem with it, is that she actually does like black people.
Now, if she liked Asian food, would she be pandering towards the Asians?
How dare she like black people?
Asian food or hot food or...
I think he's just got a problem with the fact that she's pandering. It's not that she's pandering, it's that she's pandering to black people.
Yeah. It's the black element, I think.
A white person is not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And then the host goes on to say that a lot of black people feel like they can't trust you because you mispronounce Beyonce's name, which may be the dumbest reason to reject a candidate I've ever heard.
I mispronounce a lot of names.
Yeah. Well, and what's this standard that Hillary's got to know how to correctly pronounce a made up fucking name anyway?
I don't know. It's Todd Starnes.
Yeah. Well, this was the radio host that was saying that too, though.
Yeah.
It's not the first time that Hillary has pandered to black communities across the fruited plain. I wonder Is that really a Republican thing to use that phrasing, or did he get
the fruited
Did he
plain.
get that from Brian Fisher or whatever?
No,
I don't know.
Oh, because if this isn't bottled up in San Francisco, this kind of nonsense.
Where does that hot sauce come from? New Jersey.
Yeah. Pace Picanti. Yeah, it's not the first time she's. Oh, this one is awesome. This is Todd Starnes. It's not the first time that Hillary has pandered to black communities across the fruited plain, dropping her G's above and below the Mason-Dixon line. So, according to Todd Starnes, having hot sauce and speaking improperly is appealing to the blacks.
That sounds like...
I think he's the fucking racist.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds pretty fucking racist.
Why would he pick that? She's from the South. They drop G's in the South.
And they like hot sauce in the South.
There was a time she changed her Twitter logo to represent Kwanzaa. Ooh,
oh, how dare she.
Pandering. And then there was the time she had chicken and waffles.
Oh, everybody knows that chicken and waffles are fucking terrible.
This guy's such a fucking asshole.
She better not.
Oh, yeah, they're good, but like... I don't know, what is his point? That white people can't engage in those activities, or that liking chicken and waffles, hot sauce, and speaking improperly means you're trying to get black friends.
Now, what's her favorite kind of grape drink?
Kool-Aid.
Purple drink.
Ooh, she double racist.
Truth be told, says Starnes, I'd be willing to bet a jug of sweet tea. Hillary couldn't tell the difference between a collard green and a turnip green.
I couldn't.
And then he goes on to sing Zippity Doodah. What a fucking asshole.
Jesus. That whole thing is him projecting his own racism onto everything, right?
Yep.
Holy shit.
What a fucking asshole.
Wow. I don't know that I've heard anything quite so overtly, like, just projecting his own racism onto the whole thing. And
well, that might be a little hyperbolic. I mean, Trump and Cruz are running.
Well, if you want to go to the subject of racism, why don't we go to that next article over from this one?
Segway! Friends, it's worldly. Why is it so many black basketball stars, black football stars, black baseball stars want a white wife? Why? Lord have mercy. It's another defiance of God's law. It is a worldly way. And then it creeps over into the message. Tell me what's the difference in preaching against bobbed hair, painted face, shorts, all this, that, and other, being worldly, and we let this worldly means come right in, and we're afraid to say one thing about it. And let me tell you right up front, any of you young people, you want to marry a black man, you girls, don't ask me to do it, because I will not. I refuse. I cannot do it with a conscience toward God and look these quotes in the face. You white brothers, you find a black sister you want to marry, an African or whatever more, don't ask Brother Donnie. I'll quit church. Suit yourself. I'd rather you quit than me get in trouble with God. Well, glory.
Now, before we actually talk about this one, Ben Carson made a comment today.
Racist. Wait, what are we talking about? Uncle Ben?
Anytime somebody says a black man, Ben Carson's got to be thrown in the mix.
But Harriet Tubman is getting put on the $20 bill and Andrew Jackson is being taken off.
Oh boy.
Ben Carson had an issue with that, saying that Andrew Jackson was a really good president. He did so much for this country.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I know. And then he said, well, maybe we should put her on a different bill, like the $2 bill. He's like, she deserves to go on a bill that nobody uses.
Oh, and he didn't say that.
Well, no, but basically saying put her on the $2 bill is basically saying put her on a bill that's irrelevant.
I don't even know if that's in circulation.
It is. It's still in circulation.
Are they still printing them? Or still just in circulation? Really?
You basically gotta ask for them.
Yeah, you can go get them.
Huh.
My boss gave me a bonus in $2 bills last year for Christmas bonus.
Did you say thanks? Now I get to explain that these are a real thing whenever I try to fucking use them.
Yeah, not only that, but like, that mural I'm doing is for a cop buddy of mine.
Uh-huh.
And
hey, wait, you can't have cop friends.
I know.
Whoa.
But, well, I don't bring him up when I'm making arguments. But, he was going to get lunch, and I just happened to have some of those in my wallet and gave them to him. And he was like, "Oh, that's interesting. We just had somebody rob a bunch of these and they're brand new because my boss has to go get them."
Yeah.
He's like, we just had somebody rob a bank and get a bunch of these just recently. And they haven't caught him yet. So I'm like,
so you've been looking at your boss kind of sideways the last little bit then?
I mean, we've been friends for years, but I'm like, well, okay, you can go fucking check the numbers or whatever you're going to do with them. I don't give a shit, but bring me back a hamburger, would you? Anywho.
So he thinks not your boss,
right?
Or your cop friend.
He cited
Ben Carson thinks Andrew Jackson was a great president.
He cited because he was the last president to ever end his presidency with zero national debt.
Oh, brother!
Oh my God!
Andrew Jackson couldn't even get assassinated right.
Andrew Jackson paid people to whip slaves for him that escaped.
I'm too weak. Go now, whip that man.
I think I was reading one thing where it said that he owned over 200 slaves.
Uh-huh.
And was a complete asshole to all of them.
Uh-huh. He didn't view them as people.
No, they're property.
Yeah.
So he wasn't a nice guy. He was a very horrible guy.
Uh-huh.
It's also interesting, too, because from Ben Carson's perspective, Andrew Jackson probably did less overall to allow Ben Carson to be in the position he has today than Harriet Tubman.
But the thing is almost everybody blew up on this. Like, how dare you take Andrew Jackson? In this article here, if you scroll down, it's got a bunch of Twitter hits on there from what people have been saying in response to this. And this just came out today, and the internet went apeshit over Hillary Tubman being on the $20 bill.
We fear change. Oh my God, it's a change!
Yeah,
Somebody run for the hills! Tubman was important, but removing a president?
Removing a shitty president.
Oh, God damn.
So as the USA becomes a third world shithole, the $20 bill goes ghetto. Oh my God. From Genophilia.
Replace man who hated banks with commie slave stealer of cotton.
On cotton banknote. 7-layer dip of irony.
Wait. He's calling Harriet Tubman a commie slave stealer?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Well, I mean, if your whole family was
removing a white from a $20 bill to
God, don't even read that.
Mudskin in an act of war on whites.
What?
Wake up, white people, at Harriet Tubman. What the fuck, dude?
Fucking God.
Lord Humongous.
Wow.
That's...
Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill is clearly a conspiracy to force a cashless society. Race aside, she's ugly.
I mean, this is...
I'm not a racist. I just think she's ugly.
Yeah. I don't get what the fucking problem is with having a phenomenal person on there.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Look at this fucking idiot.
This guy.
This ain't right. Feminism, socialism, and affirmative action, all against God, #white genocide. Dude, are you fucking serious?
I hope that guy doesn't breed.
And I didn't stutter just because he looks like he would. He put 3 F's in affirmative.
Then Andrew Jackson was one of my favorite presidents. Why couldn't Hillary Tubman be on the 50 instead?
Harriet.
Hillary Tubman.
I'm sorry. We were talking about Hillary too much.
Who's currently on the 50?
50 is a non-president. No, that's 100.
That's the 100.
It is Ulysses S. Grant.
Yeah. Sure is.
Huh.
Okay.
Well.
We should put Reagan on there instead. That was the next one.
Yeah.
Then I had read comments before, people like, the presidents didn't want anybody on the bill. Why don't we just leave our national mottos on there and like an eagle?
Oh, what? Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Wow. So then there are pictures of people drawing blackface on the picture of Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill.
Man, are these all the Trump supporters? I mean,
I don't know.
God, reading through some of this is fucking brutal, man.
#Harriet Tubman. I'm appalled at the people who ignore or accept the obvious #white genocide.
What is this hashtag
going on globally?
What?
There's no white genocide going on.
Wow.
I have not seen white people being hauled away to camps and fucking murdered.
Buried in mass graves.
Yeah.
No.
These are people that are paranoid and fucking, we ran out of tinfoil probably because
I'm losing my privilege.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing.
I have the right to be racist. You can't, don't PC me. Don't be PC around me, you white genocides.
It's people like this that just
give this country a bad fucking name.
Like, Twitter's a cesspool of miscreants and...
Well, did you hear? I can't remember if it was Google or Windows who made the online bot that was supposed to learn from Twitter and Facebook.
That was Microsoft.
And like within 48 hours,
within 24 hours, she turned into
fucking racist.
She turned into
Nazi.
a
9/11 truther.
9/11 truther, Nazi, sex addicted.
Which just goes to show the kind of shit that people are posting out there when that's what it learned.
Yeah,
it's sad.
What's your problem?
I'm a Catholic whore, currently enjoying Congress out of wedlock with my black Jewish boyfriend who works in a military abortion clinic. So hail Satan, and have a lovely afternoon, madam.
How about a palate cleanser?
Okay.
I'll take a mint.
Which
I should like to have my palate cleansed.
Some sorbet?
A lovely lemon mint.
I don't know if I want to do those now. I have some jokers.
Some jokers?
First time I ever went to a 5-star restaurant and they brought out that sorbet thing. Me and my brother were sitting there looking and like, what is this?
What is it for?
It looks like butter shaped in a flower.
Actually, this one's a little bit lighter. It's kind of funny. Do you guys know who Pat Boone is? Did you see that story?
Pat Boone. Wasn't that an
ancient
old country singer?
Country singer.
Yeah, okay.
Well, he's calling out Saturday Night Live for a recent skit that parodied God's Not Dead 2.
Oh, I saw that.
Boone claimed the skit, titled God's a Boob Man, is anti-Christian, anti-Semitic, and outright sacrilege.
It was fucking funny.
Yeah.
I liked it.
In the skit, a woman is being forced by a Jewish ACLU lawyer to declare that God is gay. Boone told The Hollywood Reporter. Saturday Night Live crossed the line.
No.
He said, God has a sense of humor. Why else would he invent the porcupine and the giraffe? I like
invented.
I like the word invent there, but also that he didn't pick the platypus for some reason.
Yeah.
If he was going to go with funny animals.
Or hang our most gentle bits outside of our body.
And he invented them like God. You can go and look at God's patents on file with the U.S. Patent Office.
Right.
Somewhere.
Instead of just going giraffe.
Patent 001.
Porcupine. Yeah, but that to him is a good sense of humor anyway. But anyway, he goes on to say,
what was it? What was the guy's name again?
Pat Boone.
Pat who?
Boone.
Pat, you're a cunt.
I was like, can you seriously not turn your fucking headphones up, man? Nice. God can be devilishly funny, but this skit is diabolical.
No, it was funny.
God has only one real enemy, Satan. Satan ridicules faith, and they're taking Satan's side. They're also ridiculing me and the film, telling impressionable young people not to see it because it's ridiculous.
He's afraid of the Saturday Night Live skit.
Yep.
Making fun of him.
Mm-hmm.
He'd hate our show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then they throw in that the lawyer is Jewish and making the Christian look even worse.
Well,
but it's just anti-Semitic. Then
how is it anti-Semitic?
I don't know, but be in a better movie then, dude.
Oh, was he in the movie?
Yeah, he was in it. That's why he's taking such personal offense. Boone insists that he's not looking for an apology from NBC. However, he thinks the network should issue one.
No.
So no, but yes.
I'm not looking for an apology. I just think you should make one.
Yeah,
you offended my religion.
Yeah, and then he moves right into the classic pseudo-modesty couched in threats that Christians love. As much as I've enjoyed SNL, they went over the line. The believers in God deserve an apology, he said. I won't waste my breath on demanding an apology. They don't answer to me.
Well, he already wasted his breath.
They answer to the one they defame, and there are consequences.
Go and fucking stomp your feet somewhere else.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking cares.
Yep. God's Not Dead 2 also stars Melissa Joan Hart and Jesse Metcalfe. It tells the story of a public school teacher whose Christian faith and career come under attack when she answers a question about Jesus with scripture.
I'm honestly surprised that Full House chick's not in the movie.
Oh yeah, Candace.
Yeah.
Cece.
Pat Boone said that SNL has become filthy in recent years. I used to love SNL. I record it every week. It's gotten filthy though, so no more.
They talk about boobies.
He said this skit is outright sacrilege. They know if they did this to Muslims, they'd have to be put in a witness protection program. There's nothing sacred at SNL, except maybe the words Muhammad or Allah.
So is he suggesting that Christians should start threatening people more often?
It seems like, it sounds like he's got a hard-on for that fear tactic.
I mean, the best way to make sure that people don't mock your religion is to threaten them more often. That seems to be his stance here.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of Christian stance, because you would never say this about Islam. The fucking hell we wouldn't.
Yeah.
So,
and not only that, but SNL's
always been a little dirty with sweaty balls and
Yeah, but the thing that bugs me is about that particular part of it is the same thing that fucking Christians do all the time, which is, oh, this is fucking hilarious. I record everyone until they make fun of me.
Yeah.
Now it's not funny. Now I'm boycotting it. I'm going to throw a fit. Fucking, it's ridiculous. It's gone over the line. You need to apologize. No, you were laughing at this shit when they were talking about that guy. Fucking grow up, Christians.
He probably thinks it's funny every time they mock Muslims.
Yeah,
I'm sure he does, yeah.
Well, and it's like when fucking South Park would make fun of all kinds of religion.
Every one of them.
But
when it gets to you...
until they made fun of Scientology, and then all of a sudden there's no longer Chef there because... Fucking what's-his-face is a Scientologist.
Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes is a Scientologist.
I'd actually seen something on that the other day when they're talking about that death scene. Like, when he dies, he goes, like, you can kind of poke fun at him, like, sorry, Chef, you had to go. Sorry for those crazy people.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until somebody shoots my church's eye out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, fuck all that noise. Speaking of fucking all that noise...
Segway!
In a moment of doubt, isn't there... I don't know, I just find it fascinating that even when you're alone and, no one else is watching, that there might be a moment where you want to hedge your bets.
If that comes, it'll be when I'm very ill. When I'm half demented, either by drugs or by pain, I won't have control over what I say. I mention this in case you ever hear a rumor later on. Because these things happen, and the faithful love to spread these rumors. On his deathbed, he finally, I can't say that the entity that by then wouldn't be me wouldn't do such a pathetic thing, but I can tell you that not while I'm lucid. No. I could be quite sure of that.
So if there is some story that on your deathbed...
Don't believe it.
Don't believe it.
Don't credit it, no.
I saw earlier this week, not on the Facebook or anything, I try to find stories independent of my social circle.
Yeah.
Posted on ChristianPost.com is a story about author Larry Taunton, who says that atheist Christopher Hitchens contemplated conversion to Christianity prior to his death.
For some reason, I don't believe that.
No, I don't believe that at all, but, according to the Christian Post, this book makes a very good argument that that's the truth.
Now,
and Christians know so much about good arguments.
Having a discussion about it is probably way different than contemplating changing to it.
Yeah, the story says that Larry Alex Taunton, the founder and executive director of the Fixed Point Foundation, says in his newly released book that the late notorious atheist Christopher Hitchens was contemplating conversion to evangelical Christianity before his death. Though still recovering from a near-fatal accident, Taunton is talking about The Faith of Christopher Hitchens, released on April 12th, which is Taunton's book. Quote, Amazon ran out 2 days ago. The book has been in high demand. It's gotten a lot of visibility. Taunton, who is known for debating atheists, told AL.com in an interview. Hitchens, who died in 2011, became a close friend of Taunton, and they went on 2 long road trips together. Quote, with Hitchens reading aloud from the Gospel of John on one of them, end quote, the news website says, adding that the Christian author is also friends with British atheist Richard Dawkins. I don't believe any of this.
No. Even if he was reading from the Bible, doesn't mean he was converting.
Hitchens said several times before he died that to not believe anybody who would ever say that he converted on his deathbed or was thinking of converting, that he seriously doubted that it ever would happen, but that if it did, it would be that he's losing his mental faculties in the throes of death.
Yep.
I mean, he said that several times before he died, because he knew that this kind of shit, this kind of heinous fuckery would eventually happen.
Yep.
And
I can't remember if he, in his very last talk, did he discuss that in his very last speech before he died?
I think he discussed it in like the last 10 of however many speeches he
I just remember I've gone back and I haven't watched it in a long time, but I used to go back and watch that one of him with his very last talk, where he was kind of weak on the stage and a little.
I'm trying to remember
slow.
the very last thing that he actually wrote. He even mentioned it.
Okay.
But yeah, this Larry Alex Taunton, if he was actually friends with Christopher Hitchens in life, should be fucking ashamed of himself.
Yeah, what a fucking coward.
Yeah.
Make a quick buck off the dead guy who can't defend himself.
Yeah. Yeah, so I posted that to Facebook earlier this week and just said, fuck everything about this article.
Yeah.
And in particular, fuck you, Larry Alex Taunton.
Yep.
As he was dying, Hitchens wrote his final book, appropriately titled Mortality. His widow, Carol Blue, is here this morning. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Charlie.
You describe, in fact, that he was holding court to the end, even though he knew.
He didn't.
He knew he was very sick,
He knew he was very sick. He had hoped to. He had checked into the hospital feeling funky, and it was one of those super bugs you get in the hospital. But one of the last emails he wrote was, I'm back in the hospital, I hope just for a couple days, when he said he would, have to postpone writing a column to one of his editors. There were many friends there, and he was the one kind of carrying the conversation, bringing up the various subjects. He was talking about Philip Larkin, Auden, Woodhouse. God never came up, if anyone's interested.
Yes.
It just
he
was a
very honest about the
non-subject.
fact that he had been well known for what he had written, as I said in the introduction. But that didn't change with him. He thought that would have been dishonest to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
That changed my opinion about things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he had a revelation, he would have been the first to share it, and he would have done it in a very interesting way. But as it happens, he didn't.
What's next?
I got a next.
Oh, well, good.
Here you go, Ryan.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
Cool.
What?
I'll fill the next.
Okay.
This one's for you, Ryan. Governor Scott Walker is feeling so good about the role he played in Ted Cruz's victory in Wisconsin that he's comparing himself to two of the greatest quarterbacks in Green Bay's history.
Fuck
Jesus Christ and who?
I was gonna
Bart Starr.
I was going to say Bart Starr and Brett Favre, but it's probably Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre.
Walker says Donald Trump's decision to attack his record as governor is like someone going to Lambeau Field and taking a whack at Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers or retired great Brett Favre.
I knew it! He would not name Bart Starr because he doesn't know fucking football.
I know. Yeah, and you're just like those guys, Scott. They'll never be president either. The Republican, I really thought that would do better.
Of course. Well, I was just thinking, fuck, I'm in my head stewing about him, like, fuck you for not mentioning Bart Starr. Mention the two contemporary guys and forget the greatest quarterback that Green Bay's ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, Aaron is pretty good, though.
He is, but
well,
Bart Starr
I know.
Yeah.
Pretty
Bart
big
Starr,
legend.
Bart Starr is what led Green Bay to being the Green Bay that it is today.
Sure. No, it's true. The Republican governor was commenting in an interview on Milwaukee's WTMJ radio. Cruz won Wisconsin on Tuesday, or whenever that was, by 13 points over Trump. Walker's approval rating is above 80% among Wisconsin Republicans, nearly double what it is among all residents. Trump criticized Walker's record while campaigning in Wisconsin. Walker says it's like going after his record, attacking Rodgers or Favre just would not have worked.
Yeah, fuck Scott Walker.
Fuck him in his ass.
Yeah.
Wait, he would enjoy it.
Have you noticed he doesn't breathe through his nose?
No. I don't like to pay attention.
He's got like
to
a
him.
deviated septum or something. He's a mouth breather.
Have you noticed his chin slid off?
he's done.
I grow a goatee like Glenn Beck.
I know. I don't even know how he wears a helmet on his Harley. Let's just go flying off all the time.
But he's done nothing good for Wisconsin. Nothing at all.
Well, he has dismantled unions and cut pay and killed jobs and increased the debt and
decreased teacher requirements.
decrease their requirements because no one would want to do a job where they don't get paid to do it.
Yeah. I'm going to cut pay and benefits.
And then expect the
and
best
your
people.
retirement. Like, oh, guess what? You no longer get a retirement. You're fucked.
Yeah. And can't figure out why nobody wants to work there. So then he cut requirements for teachers. So now any jackhole can go and teach a kid history. Or
I've got one friend back home who I know is still teaching, and he works 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
He works as a teacher, and he works 2 other jobs.
Yeah. All we're looking for is 22-year-olds that with 30 years of experience.
Yeah.
$8 an hour.
And who plan to retire and are independently wealthy.
Right. Yeah. Bootstraps.
All you have to say is, science is a philosophy of discovery, intelligent design is a philosophy of ignorance. That's all. I don't need to see have you discovered anything lately? If not, get out of the science classroom.
This one's just kind of funny.
That's weird.
Is it? Is it funny?
It's not funny like, haha, it's funny like, oh, this is
It's not funny, haha, it's funny peculiar.
Yeah, it's funny like, you should shove a coat hanger in you funny.
That's hilarious.
That was insensitive and mean, and I apologize for saying that. I should not have said it.
Coat hangers everywhere, outraged.
I know. But
why would anybody need a coat hanger, though, Ryan?
She might have tried to use a coat hanger. This might be what we might be seeing in this photograph.
Who's she? What are you talking about?
God.
God?
Yeah.
Is it she?
Oh, well, according to Dogma, yes.
Needs a coat hanger.
Yeah.
I'm saying we haven't introduced the story.
Nobody knows what's going on at all.
I'm trying to confuse the shit out of everyone.
Everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? What are they talking about?
Is this a dry cleaner story? I like a dry cleaner story.
So what is the story, Ryan?
So it's this woman in Evansville got an ultrasound done, and she's showing off the picture of the ultrasound to everyone, and someone pointed out, look, there's a cross with Jesus on it in your ultrasound. So this woman has, and by the way, on this photograph on this thing, it's quite zoomed into one little spot. But she's been sick in the past, and she has Crohn's disease. So she thinks this is a sign from God that Jesus is going to protect her baby now. Because there's a picture of a cross in her ultrasound. She said you can see God's hair and his legs are crossed and his arms and everything. Mm-hmm. I think she just left a coat hanger in there.
I saw the headlines for this.
Oh, okay. That's where the coat hanger comes from. But no, she wouldn't even, she could just stick her hand up there and get it. I mean, she just go Eucharist deep and you could still get it. You could get it.
So when I saw the headlines for this and I saw the inlaid picture, it does have a picture of what appears to be a crucifix.
Definitely.
And I thought, well, somebody fucked up the ultrasound or she swallowed something or something was fucked up about this whole thing.
Hey,
that's where babies go.
Yeah. Are you in the Idaho legislature?
I've been listening to too many Pastor Manning shows.
For all we know, that's the baby's butthole.
We'll burn and burn and burn. So, let's see what 14news.com has to say about this.
That's a short one.
An Evansville woman was in for a divine surprise after a prenatal checkup at her doctor's office.
Yeah, the ultrasound picture, which has now gone viral, revealed much more than the image of her baby boy, and she likes to think of it as a sign from God. Beth Sweeney has a story you'll only see on 14 News.
Everybody was just shocked. Like, everybody's like, I have to see that, I have to see that. So I was having to drive this thing all over town to show, like, my grandparents who don't have Facebook and things like that.
Allie Meyer is talking about this, an ultrasound picture of her baby that appears to show an image of Jesus on the cross.
I think it's pretty amazing.
She didn't even notice until about a week later when someone pointed it out at her baby shower.
And she was like, do you see this? And I was like, see what? And she pointed to it and she's like, it looks like Jesus hanging on the cross. And so we took a picture of it and blew it up on my phone to get a closer look, and it is so much detail. Like, you can see the hair and, like, his legs crossed at the bottom and everything.
In just a few hours, the picture was shared all over Facebook.
My mom shared it, and she got, like, 50 comments, and people were asking for permission to share it.
While she's getting a kick out of the interest in the picture, Allie also likes to think the image is a subtle message from above.
I've been on a lot of medicine for my Crohn's disease, and we've been very worried about it. So I feel like it's a sign that everything's going to be okay with him.
Beth Sweeney, 14 News.
You've got a torture device in your uterus.
I'm not going to cure your Crohn's disease. I'll put a little picture of my son being tortured and murdered in your ultrasound instead, okay? That should reassure you. That'll make everything better.
Now you got thorny Crohn's disease. Right, guys? Right, guys?
Yeah, I'm not going to do anything to make sure that your baby's born healthy. I'm not going to cure your Crohn's disease. I'm going to put a picture of my son being tortured and murdered in your ultrasound so that you feel better.
Right. And I'm not going to like make it appear to you in real life. It's going to be through
but you know what the fucked up thing
pareidolia
is?
in your ultrasound.
Yeah.
If this child ends up not making it because of her Crohn's or has something happens during birth and the baby doesn't make it, you'll be like, well, Jesus was with him. His cross was there.
Yeah, they'll capitalize on that too, yeah.
Yeah, Jesus was just ready to call him home.
Right.
That's what that was.
This was a lesson that we had to learn and loss.
See, we know that now. If only we'd thought about that before.
Yeah. Jesus needed him. Well, why the fuck did he send him? He's only been there for 2 months. God, keep him then.
Jesus is a dick.
No shit.
Fucking asshole.
Indeed, I believe people when they say that they have experienced miracles. I believe that they think that they have. I think I'm obliged to credit them if it comes to that. As long as they keep it to, if you like, if I can put it like this, modestly as I dare, to themselves.
We have a Louie Gomert.
Fucking Louie.
We haven't heard from Louie for a little bit.
No.
So this comes to us from Right Wing Watch. Louie Gomert says the hippies and the troublemakers are taking over. Earlier this year, Representative Louie Gomert, our Texas, shocker, attributed the popularity of Senator Bernie Sanders to the fact that, quote, we let some of the hippies from the 60s start teaching the teachers in universities. Gomert brought up the subject again in an interview Monday with Armed America Radio's Mark Walters, where he explained that, quote, a lot of the hippies and the troublemakers from the 60s and the early 70s figured out that instead of blowing up the Pentagon or blowing up police cars, they could just become teachers.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't remember many hippies blowing up cars.
No.
Oh, you know? That happened all the time.
Did it?
Yeah, and how many times did they have to rebuild? How many times did they have to rebuild the Pentagon?
Yeah,
several during the 60s and 70s.
Because it's so easy to just walk up to with an Acme backpack full
originally
of TNT.
It just had 4 sides.
I was gonna say,
they had to rebuild it so many times and got so confused, and now has 6 sides. That's how that whole thing happened, Ryan.
Well, that's fucked up.
This means
a Pentagon has 5, but
that too. Well, there used to be 6. Then
okay. So it used to be the hexagon.
Then when the World Trade Center thing happened, we knocked the side out.
We're getting important information from the hexagon, sir.
This means
which is so much better than going down though, because it's like, well, what do the leaders at the square say?
I want to hear from the leaders at the Octagon.
The Octagon, yeah.
They fight.
Ooh, that sounds ominous.
Or the Septagon.
Dodecahedron. Get him on the line.
It's a 20-side dice.
This means, he said, that the socialists that wanted to destroy the country in the 60s and 70s have figured out you can just miseducate the kids and you're well on your way to taking over the country.
Huh. Mm-hmm. Miseducate.
Mm-hmm.
It's thanks to these same teachers, he said, that people have heard over and over how horrible guns are.
Except, here's an interesting stat for you, Louie. Anytime someone gets shot, there's a gun there 100% of the time.
100% of the time.
Unless it's by a bow and arrow.
Unless. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's true. Fine. Fair
or
enough.
slingshot.
Or slingshot, or a blowgun.
But you know what we mean.
Yeah.
Let's hear it straight from the Gomert's mouth.
We are witnessing something from the progressive left, sir, that I just have not seen a shift in a political party like this, I think, in my lifetime.
Shit.
Am I right about that? Or
No, I couldn't agree with you more. It's just been dramatic. But if we
Same
just
with the right.
realized it, but apparently a lot of the hippies and the troublemakers from the 60s and early 70s, they figured out, well, we're not going to fix things by blowing up the Pentagon or blowing up police cars. Let's just all go teach at universities, and we'll start teaching the teachers who will, within a few generations, they will have been teaching the teachers who will be teaching the kids growing up. And so, Mark, I've had people, honest, sincere young people say, well, can you explain why socialism is bad? I understand it's supposed to be bad, but it really sounds nice. Everybody's sharing and whatnot. And what it says is that the socialists that wanted to destroy the country in the 60s and 70s have figured out you just miseducate the kids and you're well on your way to taking over the country. And I think that's largely, people have heard over and over how horrible guns were, and you don't need an automatic weapon for hunting.
Correct.
Well, the Second Amendment's not about hunting.
Oh, it's about killing people. Perfect. But he still didn't answer why socialism is bad. He just moved right along. He's just like, well, they were trying, because they don't understand that in the 60s and 70s when they tried to use it to destroy that. How did they try to use it
nice. You share your Legos and.
Yeah. And did it ever cross your mind that the people who actually want to go into compassionate fields, like teaching and helping people and stuff, are going to be more liberal leaning? Did that ever cross? Or the fact that they encounter a whole wide variety of different kinds of people from different backgrounds, ethnicities, languages, all that, increases your compassion and understanding for diversity and also
for all people,
and also pushes you left? Did any of that? No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because you're a Republican and you don't give a fuck about any of those things.
Nothing occurs to him because he doesn't fucking think about it to begin with. Yeah. He's got a narrow worldview of this is how things fit. Anything outside of that is weird, abnormal, wrong, bad, sinful.
Yeah. And they're not even, and they're too blind to even notice the major right-wing shift that's happened since just the 80s. Forget about 60s and 70s.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Texas will get its way, because they're trying to secede from the Union again.
They never will do that.
No, they won't. But they voted on it every fucking year.
There's an organized movement that they should secede. I saw the headlines for that.
Yeah.
We don't have the story available. I can pull it up.
But I was reading on it where I think it was said that for every citizen in Texas, Texas spends about $2,200 per citizen, but they take nearly, I think it was close to $6,000 of federal money per every citizen.
Of course they do.
Purse, yeah.
Per person. So, Texas would be fucking bankrupt if it wasn't for the federal government, which they hate.
Right. And what does the U.S. Military specialize in? Invasion and occupation.
Of Texas. They tried to do that with Jade Helm.
Yeah.
We know. We saw it coming.
Weren't gonna have it.
I want my life extended technologies.
Fucking them Walmart FEMA camps.
Oh.
I saw them with my eyes.
Fucking Alex Jones. That guy never gets
so I like to go on
less crazy
to the YouTube and look up some of these crazy conspiracy theory people every once in a while. And I was watching one where this lady was going off. She's like, look, the government's moving bombs into different areas on the backs of trucks. They're all on trains. Look at this. I got pictures. And I'm like, those are C-130 fuel pods. Those are not bombs. Those are fuel tanks for aircrafts.
That could be made into bombs.
Yeah, you just put some tin.
All you gotta do is throw in some fuses. You can't tell me they're not bombs, Ryan! Sorry, I got Alex Jones on it. He possessed me. He's a demon.
He is.
He is.
Glenn Beck is right. Alex Jones is a demon.
Glenn Beck is right.
And atheists are summoning them demons to take over the world. And we're going to battle aliens.
It's not human intelligence. Fucking God.
If I believe that I was saved because once a baby boy was born and before mutilated, was made the extraordinary discovery that he'd escaped the female birth canal. His mother was a virgin, or at least her birth canal was only one way. That thus I was a sorry thing, by the way, religion's distaste for these regions, don't you find? And something to put you on your guard. Suppose I thought, okay, now I know that must prove his teachings are true, which it doesn't seem to me that they do, but suppose I did. and I'm going to be saved by it, I think that was a wonderful secret. It would make me happy. It should make me happy. It doesn't make people happy. They can't be happy till I believe it too. My children must be taught this stuff. No, sir, no ma'am, no day, no way, no shape, no form. You keep your illusion private.
Well, the next story we have up comes to us from Raw Story. It's got some local implications, but it's related to somebody outside of Utah. Story headline says that a 70-year-old woman tenderizes husband's head after catching him looking at porn.
Now, this story is
70-year-old heads are kind of tender anyway.
They are. And this is funny to a way where it almost sounds onionish, but it's on Raw Story, so I don't think it's onion.
No, it's not satire.
No, but some of it sounds a little satire-ish.
The story says that the first validation of Utah's declaration that pornography is a public health crisis came from an unlikely source when a 70-year-old woman in Oswaldwistle?
I couldn't pronounce it.
Oswaldwistle.
Sure.
England beat her husband with a metal meat tenderizer after she caught him looking at porn, according to the Manchester Evening News.
Little bit of an overreaction, one might say.
That was an overreaction. Yeah. Linda Holmes claimed that she saw red after catching her 78-year-old husband, Gordon Holmes, with adult porn.
Adult porn.
Yes, not kiddie porn.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't touched me for 10 years.
Because you're a 70-year-old woman.
She told police. And now he's watching porn? How dare he? How do I go about getting 10 years of my life back?
What?
The couple were about to celebrate their golden wedding anniversary, 50 years, when the attack took place March 16, 2016.
She's just mad that he's beating his meat and she ain't getting any.
It should be murder. I want 10 years of my life back.
Wait. You've been dead for 10 years?
I saw red mist.
That was his brains.
Oh, okay. Well, then, carry on.
I saw red mist. Red rum. Mrs. Holmes pled guilty to inflicting grievous bodily harm on her husband. Yesterday, the court sentenced her to 10 months in jail, which has been suspended for 18 months. Prosecutor Stephen Parker explained to the court that, quote, there had been a breakdown some considerable time ago in their sexual relationship that had led to tension between them. Parker said that Holmes had caught her husband with the pornographic material several days prior to the attack. But when she thought he was trying to destroy the evidence...
What?
That's when she went after him with a hammer.
The pages were all stuck together. She couldn't open it.
Oh,
damn it, Henry! Mr. Holmes suffered injuries to his head, ear, and right hand and escaped by running out into the street and telling his neighbors that his wife had gone mad. He then told neighbors that he didn't want to get the police involved. Defense counsel Rachel Woods said that the attack was totally out of character for her client. Mr. Holmes told the police that he felt partially responsible for his wife's assault on him. He said that it was his selfishness that drove his wife to it, namely his playing in a band, playing golf.
Oh, I thought those were euphemisms at first.
And I did too. And spending considerable time away from home and not supporting his wife.
Okay, so those things make more sense, but the porn is the headline.
Yeah.
While Utah officials emphasized that pornography hurts the developing brains of children.
Oh, brother.
In its declaration of the public health threat posed by smut, BYU professor Brian Willoughby told the Deseret News that the use of pornography has a negative impact on, quote, relationship well-being and detrimental expectations about sex.
Nope, it doesn't.
End quote. There is no word on whether the Holmes have reconciled.
I wonder if they're related to H.H. Holmes.
Who's that?
Only the world's U.S.'s first
serial
killer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
During the Chicago World's Fair where he built his death hotel.
Oh, yeah. That thing is creepy.
There's a movie coming out about it with, like, Leonardo DiCaprio or someone like that playing H.H. Holmes.
I don't think they would be related.
Maybe. Well, she kind of seems like she could be.
Yeah.
Seeing red and beating a guy over the head like that.
But they're all the way over there in the 51st state, though.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, but H.H. Holmes came from Europe and killed Europeans.
And he was famously quoted as saying, I will now escort you to my red mist room.
Yes.
I saw red mist.
If you've never heard of H.H. Holmes, look the guy up. He was one sadistic fuck.
You don't have to look him up.
He built this hotel.
We'll tell you about it.
And all the rooms were soundproofed. So he could have his way with people any way
not
he
all
wanted.
of them.
I thought he'd soundproofed all the rooms.
All of the rooms,
kill rooms.
Yeah.
All the kill rooms.
The rest of it was like a normal hotel. Though.
Yeah. All the kill rooms. All the kill rooms were the rooms that people. All the bedrooms were kill rooms.
Well, he had like laundry chutes go into the basement ones.
Yeah, to put the body in.
And he had like 6 different people work on the construction of the hotel, so they didn't know really.
And he
what
never
it
paid
was
him.
Going to be completed.
But he had rooms where he could like release gas into it and just suffocate him to death, or he could sneak into the room and kill him in however he wanted. Just sick, sadistic.
So this sounds like what American Horror Story Hotel was based on. This
probably.
I didn't watch the most recent one, but it might have been based on him.
I stopped watching it. Like we watched, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes, and I was like, "This is just fucking stupid. I don't like this show anymore." So we stopped watching it. Anyway, our friends across the pond apparently are almost as sick and twisted as us here on this side of the pond. So what do you think about that, Mr. Morris? and Mr.
Morris?
Mr. Spike, I can't think of how to pronounce all of your name, the real name thing.
Zogdy, I think it is.
Dan and Spike, of the 2 skeptical chaps.
Well, also Dave Morris.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah. I said Mr. Morris.
And then I said,
yeah.
Well, that's Dan's last name as well. And
yeah, they
you
are
said
both
Mr.
Morrises.
Oh, right. There are.
Oh, okay, because you said Mr. Morris and Spike.
We have Morris-I.
Yes, we do. Morris and Morris.
Shout out to the Morrises.
Yeah. That sounds like a TV show, like a cop show. Morris and Morris. Hold on, I'm getting a call from the Hexagon. That must be really important, Morris. It sure is, Morris.
It's on the red mist phone.
I think it was David Hume who put it slightly vulgarly. This was again about the virgin birth, I think. Which is more likely, that the whole natural order is suspended, or that a Jewish minx should tell a lie?
All right, what's next?
Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Police handcuffed multiple students ages 6 to 11 at a public elementary school in Murfreesboro on Friday. I know it sounds like I'm saying that weird, but it is Murfreesboro.
This is the same place where tube socks also double as dental floss.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say something else about tube socks.
I won't get into that.
The action...
Like Red Hot Chili Peppers, it's clothing.
Right.
Yeah.
The action inspired public outcry and added fuel to an already heightened tensions between law enforcement and communities of color nationwide. The arrest at Hobgood Elementary School occurred after the students were accused of... What do you think students would be accused of? Ages 6 to 11. They were handcuffed and arrested at school.
Ooh.
What could they possibly have done?
Playing tag with weapons.
Playing Smear the Queer.
No, they don't care about that.
Oh, that's Tennessee. Never mind.
Yeah.
Not a bomb threat?
They were accused of not stopping a fight that happened several days earlier off campus.
Oh.
And so they went to school and arrested 6 to 11-year-old kids?
Yep.
Seems personal. Seems perfectly reasonable.
For not getting involved in the fight.
A juvenile center later released the students, but local community members now call for action. Police review of the incident and community conversation. And social justice experts across the country use words such as startling and flabbergasted in response to actions in this case. What about unnecessary?
Yeah.
What were the handcuffs for, by the way? Let me guess, the 7-year-old threatened their lives?
Yeah, you got to be really careful. They get aggressive at different times of day.
They're getting bigger nowadays, too.
Well, yeah, sure.
They're dangerous.
Parents and community members.
They're thugs.
Parents and community members sharply criticized the arrests of the students at a church meeting on Sunday. The Murfreesboro police chief on Sunday cited the incident as a learning experience, a chance to make things better so they don't happen again.
Oh.
As he hiked his pants above his fupa.
Yeah. The city manager said, if something needs to be corrected, it will be. Which is another way of saying we're not going to do anything at all because something does need to be corrected.
Uh-huh.
You're not. What are you waiting for to come in?
Yeah.
You have 6-year-olds in handcuffs. It remains unclear exactly how many children were arrested. State law prohibits the release of juvenile law enforcement records, and police have denied a media request for the information, of course. Murfreesboro police didn't say what laws the kids violated.
Yeah, so say, what were they arrested for?
Yeah.
Not fighting?
Right, yes. but parents of several of the arrested children say the kids were charged with, quote, criminal responsibility for conduct of another.
What?
Which, according to Tennessee criminal offense codes, includes incidents when a person fails to make a reasonable effort to prevent an offense.
Huh.
And to that I say they aren't even old enough to be considered responsible, even under the law.
No,
so
they're
what
not.
the fuck are you doing? Why are you wasting resources on this? And was there not
trying to prove a point?
Was there not a single person while they're going through this, trying to figure out their plan of attack, that was in that room and just looked around and said, "Hey guys, this is kind of crazy, right?"
Yeah.
Nobody did that.
Yeah.
They were all
there
just
was
like, "Yeah,
there was
sure."
no lone voice of reason.
I wonder if the kid that got beat up was a cop's son.
Oh, doesn't say.
Ooh.
At least 5 of the 10 children reportedly involved are black. The race of the arresting officers are unknown, of course. Police officials have said they plan to complete a review of the arrest incident within the next 15 days, until it all blows over and everyone forgets about it.
Because it takes that long.
Right. At a time of heightened tension in the country between police and the residents of the neighborhoods they protect, particularly minority communities, the incident raises concerns regarding several national issues, including the over-disciplining of kids of color, the criminalization of childhood behaviors, and the growing mistrust some residents have with law enforcement. It's unimaginable, unfathomable that authority figures would do something that has such implications, said Joseph Walker III.
Unimaginable. Clearly, they haven't been reading a whole lot of stories lately. They just lack an imagination at all.
That's probably hyperbole, but
they only read one book.
Yeah.
He goes on to make a pretty good point, though. He says, when we as the community are telling our kids don't get involved in violence and don't get in harm's way, arresting them for not intervening is the most amazing paradox of our society and is devastating to us. Yeah, who wins in that? And what the fuck are you teaching the kids?
You're basically teaching them, say, hey, if you see a fight, you better get involved.
No, you're teaching them we're the bad guys. No matter what you do, we're going to come get you.
This is like
that's what they're teaching them.
This is like the end of Seinfeld where they arrested them all for not intervening in that fight.
Right. Children, by definition, are immature, said Stephanie Boone, an associate professor of sociology at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and the founder of the school's Center for the Study of Social Justice. It's appropriate to ground them or give them detention, she said, but when you deal...
For what still? What would they give... What would they...
Oh, no, she's just saying generally, like, as a, that's, but she said, but when you deal with that kind of behavior by handcuffing children and running them through the legal system, the first thing they learn is the police are there to punish them and they are not there to help them.
Yeah.
Which, however sad, is a good lesson for them to learn in those neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I mean, that whatever. Children should be held to a different standard when it comes to accountability. Absolutely. They don't have the maturity to understand certain situations, like when to intervene, and to be arrested for not taking action. They will forever be scarred because of that.
Well, even if it were adults, what would they arrest the adults for?
Right.
And I guarantee if the cops showed up while they're trying to break up the fight, they would have all gotten charged with fighting.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because they all would have been in the fray. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And like I said, even if they were adults, what would the adults have been arrested for? Not throwing themselves into the middle of a potentially dangerous situation?
Yep. In addition to angry parents and supporters, Murfreesboro Police Chief Carl Durr, that's his name, and City Manager Rob Lyons were in the crowd. Christopher Williams, the school safety and education officer at Hobgood, on the day of the incident, said that the Hobgood administration and office staff handled the situation as wonderfully as they could have.
Said the hobgoblin.
Mm-hmm. A video was taken of the incident, and officers and officers later obtained arrest warrants for students who did not break up the disturbance. Information about who took the video and how the police obtained it is not clear. So they had a video and spent a few days maybe weeks going over the video, identifying the people who didn't fight, getting the fucking arrest warrants, then showing up at the school to arrest 7-year-olds in handcuffs for not fighting days earlier off campus. What the fuck are you doing?
I mean, it sounds like the time where I almost got in trouble in the military for my friend getting a DUI.
Why did you get in trouble for your friend getting? Oh, because you didn't stop him?
Well, because I was at the bar with him that night.
And you didn't take his keys or stop him from driving.
Yeah, and he blew a point.
You weren't a good wingman.
He blew a .08.
Just barely.
But still, you're not a child and you're in the military.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he was older than me. And I think we had went to the bar opening night of football early. We had drank 2 pitchers between the two of us and we were probably there for about 5-6 hours. Neither of us were like, we're not drunk.
Yeah, but I can't imagine being a part of that team and securing that video. And they're like, okay, we need to go through this video and identify all the kids who are doing nothing so we can get arrest warrants. And nobody went.
Now, maybe the kid that was
why?
fighting.
And nobody went, why? Why are we doing that? For what what is this? What is the point of this?
And what will we be charging them with exactly?
Right. That's what I mean by why. But also, yeah, I guess that's good. We could do that because we have so many cops and everything is perfect in Tennessee. We'll just focus on this.
Yeah. We have no other
Go
pressing
fucking
issues
do
to
something
deal with.
else, dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's nothing else that we should pay attention to right now. Let's go and arrest some kids.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
And everyone said okay.
To the squad cars.
I mean, I wouldn't have known that I'm supposed to step in and stop people from fighting and put myself in harm's way. I didn't know that was illegal.
No, how would you know? How would you know?
As an adult, you don't know that.
As an adult, you don't know.
As a 6 to 11-year-old kid, would you have been paying attention to all the politics and laws surrounding all of that?
Yeah. I mean, it's just silly.
If I'm at a club or a bar and some people start getting into a fight in the parking lot, I ain't jumping in that shit. I don't want to get fucking hit.
No.
Back in the 1600s, Princess Elizabeth of Bohemia carried on a correspondence with René Descartes, who was trying to defend mind-body dualism. And Elizabeth demanded to know, how could something immaterial like the soul affect something material like the brain or the body? Descartes was never able to answer that question, and these days, science has gone way beyond that. We know a lot more about what is happening. We can literally see memories being formed. We can see the chemical changes in neurons. So the soul is supposed to also have memories. How do the memories get from the neurons to the soul? We know that brains often have false memories in them. Does the soul in the afterlife carry those false memories, or are they somehow corrected after death?
So I realized during the previous story that we didn't really address the whole Utah issue. Have we talked about it on the show before?
We mentioned it when it first started happening, but now it's finally signed into law.
Yes.
It's been signed by the governor finally.
It's a resolution
that does nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So this story is from the local Mormon-owned newspaper, the Deseret News. Says that Utah became the first state in the country to declare pornography a public health crisis. Woohoo! And called on the industry and businesses Tuesday to keep, quote, evil, degrading, addictive, end quote, materials away from children. Governor Gary Herbert signed a resolution the state legislature unanimously passed earlier this year, calling for education, prevention, research, and policy changes to address the pornography, quote, epidemic.
Now,
why is it any of their fucking business what people do in the privacy of their own homes as long as they're not harming other people? How is this a problem? And not only how is this a problem, but how is this the most fucking pressing problem that they should be spending our tax dollars on addressing here in the state of Utah?
Yet they don't want to address the fact that we have some of the worst air quality in the entire United States.
We have some of the worst quality on the face of the fucking planet. Yeah. Here in the Salt Lake Valley. And they choose to address pornography as being a fucking epidemic and vote unanimously that it is one. That's ridiculous. They're fucking children up there.
And last I checked, children aren't legally allowed to purchase porn.
No.
And it should be the parents' responsibility. And they'd be like, well, it's everywhere. The kids. I'm like, you can set restrictions on the internet.
You can set restrictions on the internet, on your television.
TV. Yeah. There are ways to keep your children away from pornography if you don't want them to see it or look it up.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Quote, "We realize this is a bold assertion," the governor said, acknowledging some would disagree that it has become a health crisis. Quote, "It is, in fact, the full-fledged truth."
No!
Herbert also signed a bill requiring computer technicians to report to authorities finding child pornography in the course of their work.
Well, that's...
Which I think was already
that's already illegal, yeah.
Yeah. Senator Todd Weiler, who I personally fucking despise, I've mentioned him on the show a couple times previously, who is a Republican from Woods Cross, said his resolution doesn't ban anything or infringe on freedom of speech. Weiler, who says he was, quote, "mocked and scorned," as he fucking should have been, in some major publications for raising the issue, said he wants to safeguard children from exposure to sexually explicit images. Okay, fine, do that. Work on something that would handle that, as if there isn't already other things, but to say that pornography itself is an epidemic? Fuck you. He said he's not advocating any new laws, but is asking businesses and government agencies to, quote, "do the right thing."
Yeah, but what this is a foot in the door to eventually build laws on top of.
Well, there are no porn shops in Utah.
What do you mean?
Like, only softcore porn.
No, you can buy hardcore porn here now.
Oh, you can?
Yep. Now you can. Back in the day, you could not. In the 80s, 90s, you could not. But now you can buy full-on penetrative depictions of sexual acts.
We used to go to Wyoming for that.
Yeah. You don't have to anymore.
Oh. Well, now you got the internet anyways, so.
Yeah, I think that's part of why they were like, fuck it. It's on DirecTV, Dish, anything. Yeah. It's everywhere on the internet. Fuck it. It's just too difficult. And there were shops where if you knew the guy,
he would get you what you needed.
He could still say, well, this one here? Uh-huh. Yeah. They've passed this one, but right here, this one. You should buy this one. Not that I know from experience or anything.
You know from experience.
Quote, "We have restaurants, fast food restaurants, some of which cater to children, who are providing free and unfiltered Wi-Fi as well as public libraries," Weiler said. Quote, "If a library or McDonald's or anyone else was giving out cigarettes to our children, we would be picketing them."
Yeah, because there's real harm there.
So when you're at the library or McDonald's with your kids, what are they doing looking up porn?
And how are you not seeing this as a fucking parent at the library or McDonald's with your fucking kid?
But that's
how inattentive a parent are you to not fucking realize that your kid is watching porn or that sitting in the booth next to you?
Jerking off.
Yeah.
The booth isn't just squeaky.
But it's also not a good analogy, because if a library or McDonald's or anyone else was giving out cigarettes to our children, yes, of course there'd be outrage.
Yeah.
Just as there would if any of those places were giving our children porn.
Yeah. If you had porn in your Happy Meal, that'd be like,
they're not doing that.
No.
Yeah. The senator said state and federal leaders need to encourage internet service providers to make default settings porn-free and make people opt into pornography.
That would be one hell of a Happy Meal, though, right? Right? I'll have the fillet of fish. Right, guys? Right, guys?
There's a little button on Google called Safe Search.
Uh-huh.
If you turn Safe Search on, pornographic and violent material will not show up.
As far as your Google search goes, but you can still go to the website of whatever.
Well, if you type it in manually.
Yeah. So your kid's got to already know what it is, and you as a parent should probably fucking know that they're doing that. Weiler also called on the multi-billion-dollar pornography industry to, quote, "help us protect children from your evil, degrading, addictive, harmful substances."
Oh, that's a good way to reach out.
If adults want to do that, that's their choice.
Okay, so we'll...
Evil, and degrading, and addictive. So, all three of those are fucking wrong.
They are. Yep. So I honestly think people who claim to have a porn addiction don't have a porn addiction. They just can't stop rubbing their dicks.
Well, and as Dr. Darrow Ray would say, they don't have a porn addiction. They have some other underlying issue. There's no such thing as a porn or sex addiction. It's a porn or sex addiction. It doesn't fucking work that way. They have other problems.
Like I had seen one thing where the guy's like, "Yeah, I had a really bad porn addiction. It was so bad I was getting sores on my penis." I'm like, "No, you didn't have
now I just shoot up meth."
It wasn't the porn that was.
I inject all the marijuanas.
Yeah. I'm like, it wasn't the porn that was a problem. You had a problem with jerking off too much. That was your issue. You'd have done it with or without the porn. The porn didn't make you jerk off. You made yourself jerk off.
These are the small government guys, right?
Yeah. The small government Republicans.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time that Weiler has dipped his toe in the porn pool.
Ooh.
In 2013, the legislature passed a Weiler resolution saying that softcore or, quote, gateway pornography hurts brain development in young people.
Dude.
I would love to see the quantifiable scientific evidence asserting this.
You know what would be a really easy test?
Weiler's
Go
theorem.
to a village where they don't wear clothes and see if they got brain damage.
Yeah.
Dude, when I was young,
boobies all the time.
When I was young, my grandmother bought me a subscription to National Geographic.
Yeah, boobies.
I had several where the pages would just stick together. Yeah. Several researchers and anti-pornography advocates joined Herbert for the ceremonial bill signings. Clay Olson, co-founder of Fight the New Drug, which is pornography, called it a historic moment for Utah and a step in the right direction. Quote, "This is a challenge young people are dealing with at a level we have never seen," said Olson, wearing a Porn Kills Love t-shirt. BYU Family Life professor, that's Brigham Young University.
Yeah.
Brian Willoughby said he believes there's now enough research to suggest pornography is a significant health crisis.
What, BYU research?
Yes.
Yeah. Numerous studies, he said. Numerous. There are dozens of them that I cannot point you to any of one of them.
Right. From the same facility that says that Native Americans are Jews.
And kick you out if you get raped.
Numerous studies, he said, connect pornography use to lower mental health outcomes and relationship well-being and detrimental expectations about sex. This guy...
I'll bet you anything that there's numerous studies that link Mormonism to lower mental health outcomes.
And well-being and detrimental expectations about sex.
Yeah.
Still, he said, more research is needed on the short-term and long-term effects of pornography.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Quote, "We're far from being able to make definitive causal statements about what pornography does and how it influences everyone who views it. However, the circumstantial research evidence that we do have all point to and suggest pornography is not harmless."
Now, wait a minute. That's a bullshit study if you're going by circumstantial research, because what you're doing is you're talking to people who have already been negatively influenced by your fucking church that's telling them their whole life that this is wrong. And then when they go to do the one thing they can't help but do the one time, they're going to feel a tremendous amount of guilt over that. And so when you talk to them, of course they're going to feel depressed and worthless and hopeless and all. Yes,
that
of
they're
course.
doing bad things all the time.
Because you told them that that's the way that they're going to feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's bad. You planted that.
Yeah, you're the one who've told them that that this natural thing that they're doing is bad, and then shitting on them when they actually do this natural thing that is not bad.
Look at monkeys. They do it all the time. All willy-nilly.
Willoughby said he hopes the resolution will start an open and frank conversation about the role pornography plays in the socialization of young people. Don Hawkins, executive director of the National Center on Sexual Exploitation in Washington, D.C., called the bill signing a watershed moment in protecting dignity and a turning of the tide against pornography. Quote, "Pornography with its raw, debasing, violent, and hate-filled themes are the sex education for our children," she said.
Well, then give them actual sex education.
Well, and what kind of pornography are these people watching?
Right.
They must be watching snuff films.
I mean, seriously, sure, you can find some pretty grotesque and awful things out there, but if you're into that, so.
And some people actually like to get tied up and whipped in.
Yeah, and can do so consensually and have safe words, and it's all fine and good, and everybody's consenting. They're fucking adults. They can do what they want.
Or dress up as animals and have furry sex.
As a result, Hawkins said, sexual assault on college campuses, revenge porn, child-on-child sexual abuse, and children creating pornography for adults is on the rise. Not because of all of this, it's because technology is now available for these people to do this, and shitty fucking parents have no idea what their children are doing.
Yeah.
Pamela Atkinson, chairwoman of the Utah Coalition Against Pornography, said pornographers are, quote, "always one step ahead of us. If we want to protect our children, we have to do something now."
I think we need to ban all war movies, too.
Yeah.
It gives a bad illusion of what the military is actually like.
Mm-hmm.
All the heroics when all you do is actually sit around and wait and jerk off all the time and search for porn.
Gotta pass the time somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the outcry against violence?
Yeah, they're not concerned about violence. I mean, that happened. It's just something that happens.
Yeah, that's a part of life, unlike sex.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for these fucking religious backward shitheads, sex has always been bad and sinful and wrong.
We need to stop the Fast and the Furious movies. Too many kids are crashing their cars because they saw the Fast and the Furious 20.
Yeah.
You should only put your willy in the woohoo when you want to make a baby.
But this is a good illustration of why we do the show and why other people need to do shows like this, because they don't even fucking realize that the rules they've adopted for themselves are now filtering into laws and bills and regulations and all the stuff that everyone else has to abide by.
But what do you have to abide by? This law
but you know goddamn well they'd like to if they could.
But they're trying to lay a foundation. This is the opening salvo of laying a foundation to just ban it all.
Yep.
But then did you hear what
they do? They
owner
do
of Hustler
other
did?
stuff.
Did we what?
Did you see what the owner of Hustler did?
Larry Flint did what? Larry Flint said what?
Larry Flint sent free Hustler magazines to all the Congress in Utah.
Did he really?
Yep.
That's kind of awesome.
It is.
That's not going to hurt them any.
Yeah, they'll just
use it.
I was going to say throw it away, but that won't happen.
No.
They'll pretend to throw it away.
Yeah.
Go and fish it out of the garbage later. The dark of night with a ski mask on as if it's some fucking crime.
Mm-hmm. But this is just another example of states that say they want less government, forcing more government on you.
Yeah, and it's these poor, sexually repressed, religious dimwits who have been told their entire life that looking at this is wrong.
Yeah.
And so it must be wrong. They don't ever stop to question, well, why is it wrong? How is it wrong? What does it actually do? It's just, no, my church says it's bad, so clearly it's bad.
And in reality, it's nothing wrong.
I think
with
the thing that gets me the most about it is the hypocrisy, because they're all doing it.
Oh, you know they are.
They're all doing it, and they're coming out here pointing their finger and scorning everybody else as if they don't.
Yeah.
And nobody else should either.
I wonder how many of them have made child porn.
Maybe a couple.
I don't know.
Didn't one of the
there was a state representative who I don't know that he was busted for child porn, but he was doing some inappropriate things with very young staffers.
That's
in
not the
hot
one
tubs.
That's not the one I'm thinking of. There was one that was.
Oh, I thought they were from what he said, like making the actual videos.
There's one that was sitting in Senate underneath George Bush that just got busted a little while ago, who was anti all this stuff, and then.
Oh, you talking about Denny Hastert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just got busted for like, hey, you were doing like child porn shit.
I don't think he was doing. Was he doing child porn?
I thought he got busted.
He was having sex with young boys.
Was that what it was? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
It had something to do with underage kids. I remember that.
Yeah, he was having sex with young boys when he was a teacher, wrestling coach.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't Google Herbert and Ernie.
Yeah. Fuck. Governor Herbert is terrible. We have a fantastic Democratic gubernatorial candidate who's in the race this year, Mr. Mike Weinholtz, who I really, really like a whole lot. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch the debate between he and...
the other day when I clicked it on, it was just the Republican one that I saw that I caught a little bit of.
Between him and Voldemort, I can't even think of the guy's name. Oh, Vaughn Cook.
Okay.
Is the guy's name, who refers to himself as an Oriental medical doctor.
Oh.
So he pricks needles in people?
He's a self-proclaimed purveyor of woo.
Ooh.
So he's not a doctor.
And herbal remedies. He's an acupuncturist and herbal remedy doctor. An advanced Oriental medical doctor.
So he sells weed and shrooms.
No.
Oh.
No, because those actually serve some medicinal purpose.
Right.
Oh.
They actually do something to you.
Well, then what the fuck is he selling?
Woo.
Oh.
Woo and bullshit. Woo and bullshit.
So that's not advanced.
Red mist.
Woo. But he is Mormon
Okay.
and has gone on a mission, and every fucking chance he gets, he'll be sure to mention that.
Yeah.
Because that's the state that we live in.
We know the equations that the electrons that are responsible for chemistry obey. And there's no ambiguity in these equations. They could always be wrong. It is always possible to say, well, we just don't know what is going on. That's fine. But what we have is the evidence of every experiment ever done telling us that these equations are correct. To overcome that, we would need very, very strong evidence. Just one experiment telling us how the soul is pushing around the chemicals in our brain. But we don't have that.
I want jokes.
Okay.
Can I do a joke?
Yes, let's do jokes.
I'll just do this because I've been hanging. I
like jokes.
I wasn't here last week, but I was
and we
planning.
missed you very much.
I was planning on. Thanks. I was planning on being here.
You're welcome.
So I had these. I had these ready. So it's about the top 4 candidates in the presidential race.
So not about Kasich?
No.
Oh.
Some of them are my own. Some of them are borrowed and tweaked from other people, but
okay.
Hillary.
Porn's bad and good.
Oh, okay. Hillary's plan to waltz into the White House uncontested isn't going as well as she thought. But analysts say her plan to defeat Donald Trump involves painting Trump as dangerous and bigoted. To accomplish this, she'll be quoting him accurately. They're also suggesting she maybe focus on Bernie first. Hillary Clinton said that during her time in the White House as First Lady, she would actually put on a baseball cap and sunglasses so she could walk around Washington, D.C. unnoticed. The only time it went wrong was when Bill pulled up and said, "Hey, baby, do you..." Oh, never mind. Hillary...
Dude, just real quick.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, so Atheists of Utah has adopted a section of State Street for an Adopt a Highway cleanup thing.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if I told you guys, but when we went out to do our most recent cleanup a couple weeks ago, there were so many fucking prostitutes at the end of our route, like right where our sign is. There's this little motel that I'm guessing must be
Hourly
able to
rates?
rent by the hour. Holy shit, dude. I think, previously I've noticed a couple prostitutes here and there. I saw at least 24 when we went to go and do this. And I saw some 70, 80-year-old dude drive up in his little Toyota pickup and pick up a prostitute right in front of us while we were getting ready to do a group photo around the Atheists of Utah Adopt a Highway sign there. I was like, holy shit, man. There are a ton of prostitutes. I know if you guys need a prostitute, I know exactly where to go.
Any good looking ones?
They're right by the Atheists of Utah sign on State Street at about 1300 South, right there.
Any Vegas quality ones?
I don't know. Has Vegas slipped into toothless meth addicts?
No.
Okay.
They usually wear dresses. You can spot them sometimes.
No, these were all of the tweaker variety.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Very twitchy and unkempt.
So Hep C.
Probably.
Okay.
At least.
Okay.
That you're crossing your fingers hoping that's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, on with the jokes.
Hillary has been under fire for taking large fees for speaking arrangements. Despite this, she's decided not to reduce her fees, but instead she's increased her smile by 120%. Hillary, this is one of my originals. I'm rather proud of it.
Oh, I'm excited to hear it.
Hillary doesn't discuss policy issues much and prefers to deflect to her presidential qualities. Recently, she started combining them into short, easy-to-remember statements. She would like the voters to remember that nobody else in the race has such an experienced vagina. And on to Bernie. Well,
it really doesn't even matter the level of experience. It's
exactly. Because that's what she talks about, experience and her vagina. So
we
put them together.
We sure Ted Cruz's neck doesn't have a lot of experience.
Well,
maybe.
All right, Bernie. And there just isn't anything to make fun of about Bernie, so...
No, yes, nothing at all.
Bernie was recently quoted as saying that he's proud to bring Vermont values to the rest of the country. If he's president, he promised to create a holiday for everyone to make maple candy and go antiquing.
I was like, it has to do something with maple syrup.
I was thinking the syrup's coming in here somewhere.
Yep. Bernie has made history by being the first Jewish person to win a presidential primary in the U.S. His response to the victory? It could be worse, but oi with the headaches. On the Republican side, the man with the constant I need to poop smile, Ted Cruz, made history by becoming the first Hispanic person to win. Ted Cruz then said, and the first Canadian, never mind. Ted Cruz said that he would carpet bomb ISIS until the sand glowed. When it was pointed out that ISIS was centered in a city with major civilian population, he said carpet bombs should only target ISIS, which means Ted Cruz has invented a carpet bomb that only kills the bad guys, which is pretty remarkable. Why didn't we think of that before?
He's the genius.
Nearly 70% of Americans said that Trump presidency would make them anxious. And the other 30% said a Trump presidency would make them Canadian. At a rally last month, Donald Trump was surrounded by Secret Service agents after a man tried to rush the stage. The Secret Service said that the man was dangerous and disturbed, but they had to protect him anyway. It was their job.
Yeah, on your previous joke, I was thinking, when we were talking about pornography and people who watch it and everything, I was going to say, 80% of people would admit to watching pornography. The other 20% are fucking lying.
Yeah. Right.
Isn't that one that Daryl Ray says?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
No, his was about who masturbates.
Yeah.
In an interview, Donald Trump said mosques need to be watched and studied because he believed they may spread hateful views. In related news, Donald Trump needs to be watched and studied. At a Fox debate, Donald Trump revealed himself to be nasty, racist, boorish, sexist, ignorant, and smug. Hence his success in Republican polls. Here's another one of mine.
And that's not just at the recent ones. That's like at every one.
Yeah, exactly. Over the weekend, Trump broke another record with his campaign for the U.S. presidency. As he continues to gain voters, his supporters have now surpassed 86 as their collective IQ, and is comprised entirely of Americans who still refer to Trayvon Martin and Freddie Gray as thugs.
Yeah, I don't know that I can laugh at that one. That's
it's so true. All right.
Disappointing and sad.
And true.
Moving on.
What science says is that life, or consciousness, is not a substance like water or air. It is a process like fire. When you put out the flame on a candle, the flame doesn't go anywhere, it simply stops. And that is what happens when we die.
Glenn Beck thinks a Nobel Prize...
That was a good story, man.
Glenn Beck thinks... Why is that so difficult?
Glenn Beck thinks a Nobel Prize nomination automatically confers credibility.
No.
A Nobel Peace Prize nomination automatically confers credibility.
There we go. That's the one.
Too many prize and peace look alike.
Glenn Beck thinks a Nobel... I think it's the Glenn Beck thinks thing that just fucking throws me off.
Because we know he doesn't think.
Yeah, that's what it's got to be. Glenn Beck dedicated his television program last night to once again promoting his ongoing campaign to get right-wing anti-tax zealot Grover Norquist removed from the board of the National Rifle Association on the grounds that Norquist is supposedly a frontman for the Muslim Brotherhood.
Oh, brother. Yeah, with a name like Grover Norquist.
Yeah, I'm sure. He fits right in.
Uh-huh.
Predictably, Beck brought right-wing activist Kenneth Timmerman and Frank Gaffney.
Oh, yeah, predictable.
Who just this week was blasted by former NRA President David Keene as an unhinged conspiracy nut, onto the program to make the case against Norquist. Beck went to great lengths to try to bolster Timmerman's credibility by mentioning 3 times that he had once been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Timmerman, quote, is a Nobel Peace Prize nominee, Beck said in opening the show, so that gives him some real credibility.
Does it?
In case viewers weren't convinced, Beck mentioned it again, twice, during his introduction. Just so you know, he comes to the table with a little bit of credibility, Beck said.
Just a little bit.
He was nominated a few years ago for a Nobel Peace Prize. So, real quick, before we get to the audio, I want to say, if he thinks just being mentioned as a candidate for a Nobel Peace Prize gives you some credibility, he must fucking love President Obama.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
How short is Glenn Beck's memory? He's like fucking Dory.
Yeah.
So did the guy win the Nobel Peace Prize, or was he just recommended for a Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah. He was a nominee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anybody can nominate you for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Barack Obama actually got a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, that reminds me of another Seinfeld episode where he's like, he goes to rent the car, and the lady's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any cars." And he's like, "But I have a reservation." And she's like, "Yes, I know what a reservation is." And he says, "I don't think you do." See, anybody can just take a reservation. It's the actual keeping and holding of the reservation that counts.
Right.
Anyway, here's the audio from Glenn Beckistan.
The Glenn Beck program. Lot to go over tonight, including an update on the coming recall vote to remove Grover Norquist from the board of the NRA in an effort of saving the NRA from a guy who, quite honestly, I believe has allowed some of the worst characters of the Muslim Brotherhood and of terrorist organizations to infiltrate our government. And we will make that case tonight. We'll begin with one of his good friends who is a Nobel Peace Prize nominee. Some real credibility tonight to talk about the dangers of, believe it or not, Grover Norquist.
Because Glenn Beck ordinarily has none.
But when we come back, I have one of his good friends from the past, Kenneth Timmerman. Kenneth is a guy who's working for the freedom of Iran, knows the circle that Grover runs in, and has quite a story to tell you. Just so you know, he comes to the table with a little bit of credibility. He was nominated a few years ago for a Nobel Peace Prize. Joining us now over Skype is Kenneth Timmerman. He's the president and CEO, Foundation for Democracy in Iran. And also, he was a nominee for a Nobel Peace Prize in 2006.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. You know what I always found funny about the Nobel Peace Prize?
What?
That the first guy that got it invented dynamite.
Well, that's a peaceful endeavor.
Not really.
Oh, if you outlaw dynamite, only criminals will have dynamite.
Well, not exactly, because dynamite is outlawed. I don't see too many criminals running around with it.
Well, but I mean, hey, that's a good point. That's a great point for
well,
guns.
But I mean, hey, that's a good point.
And plus, but I was going to say though, I mean, like if he invented it for mining with no nefarious purpose.
Yeah, but before Sandy Hook, one of the worst school incidences was used by dynamite in like 1920 or something.
Jesus Christ. Hey, if you got to go back that far to think of one thing, then
for dynamite.
I'm happy with that.
For dynamite.
Yeah.
Where a dude lobbed a stick of dynamite into a single room.
Yeah, I guess it was more readily available back when.
Oh, it was
when Acme was up and running.
Well, no, I honestly, I think you used to be able to get all the stuff to make high explosives up until
you can still get stuff to make high explosives. You just need to know what to get.
Well, AMFO used to be readily available until after fucking the federal building.
Obama.
Timothy McVeigh. Oklahoma Federal Building.
Obama.
That's when they made AMFO illegal to just ship, because you used to be able to go, because AMFO used to be used for farmers as fertilizer. You used to be able to buy AMFO.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, you mix AMFO and diesel together and boom, high explosive.
And boom.
Now you can't just buy AMFO anymore.
It's not available. Sorry, sir. You're going to have to go elsewhere.
Unless you're like FBI.
Have you tried Amazon?
I'll look it up.
So we're faced at the end with two scenarios. One scenario says that everything we think we understand about the behavior of matter and energy is wrong, in a way that has somehow escaped notice by every experiment ever done in the history of science. And instead there are unknown mechanisms that allow information in the brain to be transferred to blobs of spirit energy that persist after we die and can talk to the other blobs of spirit energy, but don't talk to us, except sometimes they do. The other scenario says that physics is right, and that people under stress sometimes have experiences that are not actually real. On the basis of rationality, it is not a difficult decision to choose between these two options. On the basis of emotion, it might be difficult, but we need to have the courage to live life here in the actual world. Thank you.
I think this is our second to last story, maybe. No, possibly not. I don't fucking know. Anyway, Ted Cruz advisor falls for internet hoaxes about Sharia courts in Texas and Michigan. Ted Cruz's national security advisor Jerry Boykin repeatedly roundly debunked internet-fueled rumors about Sharia courts in Texas and Michigan in a radio interview on Monday.
Okay, wait a minute. So is this advisor not part of Ted Cruz's homegrown team?
He's the national security advisor for Ted Cruz.
Is he from Texas?
I don't know where Jerry Boykin is from.
Okay. If he's not, then whatever.
Boykin, Jesus Christ. Boykin, in an appearance on Sandy Rios in the Morning.
Oh, God, Sandy Rios.
Alleged that agents of the Muslim Brotherhood are gaining influence in the U.S. government to further the Islamist group's goal of changing our culture in general and forcing us to essentially modify our behavior in what I think is a dangerous way.
Mm-hmm.
He must be taking cues from Glenn Beck.
Yeah.
Grover Norquist and this person are working together. After alleging that Islamic law has gained a foothold in Europe, the Family Research Council, one of my favorite places,
Research Council,
said that it is reported that you have a Sharia court in Texas, for example, in Michigan, and you're going to see more of that if people don't wake up and take a stand against this and recognize the nature of the threat. I don't have a fucking clue what any of that means.
I'm worried about Christian Sharia law.
I had to read it differently to make it make sense, but...
Yeah, how did you read it differently to make it make sense?
It's reported that you have a Sharia court in Texas, for example, and Michigan, and you're going to see more of that if people don't wake up and take a stand against this and recognize the nature of the threat.
Did I not read it that way?
No.
You just had longer pauses.
Oh.
Well, when you read it was like Sharia court in Texas, for example, and Michigan. And I was like, wait, for example, and Michigan? What?
Well, that's how it's written.
Yeah.
That's the commas.
Uh-huh.
Boykin's reports, however...
They just put them all in there so you have to read it like William Shatner.
Boykin's reports, however, are nothing but online rumors. The supposed imposition of Sharia law in Michigan is likely a reference to a widely shared article from the National Report, a fake online news magazine that is like an unfunny version of The Onion. The claim that a Sharia court was established in Texas refers to a religious meditation panel similar to ones used by many Christians and Jews throughout the country. The Houston Chronicle called the Sharia court story its 2015 Texas hoax of the year, noting that noting that the panel's rulings are non-binding and work within the guidelines of U.S. law, and only rule on non-criminal matters like marital and business disputes. Indeed, the meditation panel was actually launched in 2012 and functioned without issue until conservative websites and chain emails falsely implied that it was imposing Sharia law. Boykin's claims about Islamic law taking hold in parts of Europe are similarly dubious and are likely based on mediation panels similar to ones that are led by Christians and Jews.
That's why when you first read it, I'm like, a meditation panel?
Yeah, sorry.
Jews don't meditate.
But such internet-fueled conspiracy theories may be part of the security advice Ted Cruz is now receiving. Because it's Ted Cruz, and he's kind of a dumbass.
General Boykin, if nothing is done, what's going to happen?
Well, most people think in terms of terrorism. I think that that's the top end. That's sort of the tip of the iceberg. I think what you're going to see is you're going to see more influence in our government. You're going to see more influence in our city councils. You're going to see more influence in our Congress. You're going to see more people that are getting into influential positions that are going to begin or continue changing our culture in general and forcing us to essentially modify our own behavior in a...
He sounds like the old pervert guy on Family Guy. He does.
Yeah, I was thinking Gopher from Winnie the Pooh.
I'm not even going to play the rest of that because I can't fucking... It's craziness.
Yeah.
And
not only that, but he totally flubbed the iceberg analogy that everybody knows. Everybody knows what that means. When you see, when you say, oh, this is the tip of the iceberg, that means there's a whole hell of a lot more you don't see that's coming. He's like, nope, I think that's the top level, like the tip of the iceberg. I can't even do it. Iceberg.
Iceberg. I can't even
iceberg. No.
It's like you talk, I'll whistle.
Tip of the iceberg.
here's just one. There are many examples of the way the Christian God has been defined which cancel themselves out. For example, God is defined as a being with free will who knows everything. He knows the future. God not only knows the past, and I'm assuming this is the kind of definition that you hold. You'll correct me if I'm wrong, because you haven't told us yet. But God not only knows the past and the present, but he also knows the future, which means he also knows his own future decisions. God knows what he's going to do tomorrow at 12 noon, because he's God. He knows everything. But if you know what's going to happen in the future, that puts some limits on your power, doesn't it? How can you be omnipotent and unable to change what's going to happen between now and then? And if you do change it, then you weren't omniscient. Something's got to give. You can't be omniscient and have free will at the same time. To have free will, whatever that means with humans, and maybe we do or don't, that's a different debate. But certainly if God has free will, it's a full libertarian free will, and he can do whatever he wants because he's God, right? If God has free will, then he can't know the future.
You got anything else, Matt?
Oh, I do have more, but let's see if I have any good. Oh, this one's actually kind of an interesting one.
Oh, okay.
I'll go through this quickly.
Okay.
Not that we have any Republicans listening, but this would be a good time to pay attention.
We might. You don't know.
President Obama, often criticized by Republicans for constitutional overreach for his use of executive orders to get around Congress, signed his 254th executive order of this presidency, allowing the Peace Corps to change its logo.
Oh, that rotten bastard.
Uh-huh. In his 7 years in office, he's also used executive orders to change the name of the National Security Staff and the National Security Council staff to allow the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports to also consider the role of nutrition, and to prohibit government employees from texting while driving. The tyranny!
Jesus, he sounds like
he
the
is
fucking Antichrist.
Stepping government.
What
how
overreach
dare he do this?
What an evil, rotten bastard.
And
fuck,
showing that executive orders can attend to even the smallest details. Obama signed an executive order in 2014 to correct a typographical error in a previous executive order, which governed the format of executive orders.
That's just
being
bullshit.
inattentive, and he should have fucking done it right the first time.
Aha.
Or was it Bush's executive
You know
order?
why
It was Bush's.
You know why he didn't? Oh, it was Bush's?
It was from Bush.
It was Bush's.
Never mind.
Executive orders are often thought of as the most muscular form of presidential authority, and in some cases they are. Executive orders can declare national emergencies, impose sanctions on other countries, set federal purchasing policies, and dictate the working conditions for 3 million federal employees. But more often than not, they deal with more mundane matters of bureaucracy. Particularly since Bush, this notion that every executive order constitutes an imperial power grab by the president.
Dun, 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 dun.
$17.
You want a popsicle?
It just doesn't match up with the facts on the ground, said William Howell, a University of Chicago professor and author of... I don't care about his book. It's not all power grabs. A lot of it's clearly trivial stuff. That's one reason why simply counting the number of executive orders issued by a president is a poor measure of how sweeping his use of executive power is. So while President Obama has noticed that he's issuing fewer... Wait, that didn't make sense to me, but I think it does work. So while President Obama has noted that he's issuing fewer executive orders than any president in 100 years, it's debatable how many of those executive orders encroach on the power of Congress. It's not so much the number of the executive orders, but the executive orders that are in direct violation or opposition to the intent of the Congress, said Senator Pat Roberts of Kansas.
Pat Robertson?
Pat Roberts. I almost said that. Of Kansas in a debate over the closure of Guantanamo Bay prison last year. To figure out how many executive orders are truly significant, Howell has looked at mentions of executive orders on the front page of the New York Times in court decisions and congressional record. He estimates that only 10 to 15% of executive orders have significant public policy implications, a proportion that's increasing over time as presidents issue fewer executive orders overall. He's simply a dictator, Obama.
Fucking dick.
He's a tater who's a dick.
Well, I ain't eating no taters no more. And most executive orders, perhaps 60%, according to a study by
Bodangle?
I don't know. College professor Andrew...
Mr. Bojangles.
Oh, yeah.
aren't even written by the White House at all. A lot of these orders are formulated in a department or in an interagency process, and they make their way up rather than down. Often the departments are ordered to do things that they've asked to be ordered to do. So on and so forth.
Etc., etc.
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle.
But presidents use executive orders to make minor changes in policy only because the previous policy was set by executive order. One extreme example comes from the executive orders governing executive orders themselves. In 1961, President Kennedy signed Executive Order 11030, which governed the process for writing and approving executive orders. He dictated that the left margin of the executive orders be from 1.5 inches. When President George W. Bush updated that order in 2006, he reduced the margin to 1 inch, but left inches plural.
1 inches.
1 inches.
Yep.
Bitches.
And so when Obama updated the procedure again in 2014, the first thing he did was to change 1 inches to 1 inch. And still cleaning up the GOP's complete stupidity. Yeah, so
Benghazi!
Anyway, I know that was really boring to listen to, but when people complain about executive orders and presidential overreach, there you go. You could refer them to that.
But the thing about executive orders is it doesn't dictate civil law. It's federal law. It's the way federal agencies operate. You can't use an executive order to be like, I'm going to make an executive order saying everyone must eat pancakes on Sunday.
Right.
You can't?
I'm going to make a federal order saying every state must allow people at the age of 6 to drink alcohol.
All three of our Republican listeners just had their minds blown.
Because everybody's like, oh, federal orders they're so oppressive. I'm like, they don't do anything to you. A federal order, unless you are a federal employee.
How dare he change the margins on executive orders?
Unless you're a federal employee or a government employee, they do nothing to you.
Or say that 1 inch is not plural.
Yeah.
That awful, rotten, evil bastard. Yeah. I've said it several times now.
It's like when he made the executive order saying that all contractors in government workplaces have to be inclusive of same-sex marriage. You have to give them all the same rights. Like, what? How dare he? I was like, it's for federal only. He's not saying that every workplace. I mean, I wish he could say every workplace must be inclusive of homosexuals, but he can't do that.
All the federal contractors have to do that.
If you're going to have a contract on a federal installation, yes, you have to follow those rules.
Yep. And if you don't
get the contract.
And you're an asshole.
Yeah.
You're a dick smear.
Yeah, and if it required an executive order to force you to do that, you're still an asshole.
Yep.
If you know the future, you can't have free will because the future is fixed. There's no period of indeterminacy between now and then where you could change your mind. I might decide I'm going to have coffee tonight after we go out. But I could change my mind in the meantime. I have the freedom to make that choice. So if God is defined as a being with free will, who is omniscient, who knows the future, then that God is a married bachelor, and that God not only does not exist, that God cannot exist. And there are dozens of incompatible properties between God that show that by definition, mathematically, logically, the God you believe in cannot exist.
Joseph Hornick thought West Long Branch police were responding to his reports that the flags proclaiming Trump, Make America Great Again, had been vandalized. Instead, he was ticketed for violating an ordinance that restricts the display of political signs. Acting Borough Administrator Lori Cole says the ordinance prohibits the display of political signs until 30 days prior to an election. New Jersey's primary is in June 7th, but I'm wondering why that is.
That is a weird rule.
I would like to see that enforced more often, actually.
Would you?
Yeah, hell yeah. I would love to shorten our election year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but this is about being able to
put yard signs.
Yeah, show your support for a candidate.
Oh, yeah,
but only at certain
yard
times.
Signs are different, but yeah.
Violators face a minimum fine of $100. The maximum penalty is a fine of $2,000, 90 days in jail, or both.
Whoa! That's a big fine for a fucking sign in your yard.
That's a stiff one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also kind of curious about freedom of speech issues on this.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, how can they regulate that?
Yeah, that's what I'm
true.
wondering.
Yeah.
Because I don't love that he has a Trump one, but he has the right to fly it.
He does.
Sure.
I mean, is it like saying, oh, you cannot put that Trump bumper sticker on your car until 30 days prior to the election?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the other thing, I mean, yeah. I mean, the police didn't do anything about the vandalization either, which is kind of annoying, but.
Well, was it vandalization or was it people going, you're not allowed to have these up, we need to take them down?
Yeah, I don't know. But Hornick says he intends to keep flying the flags, and his court date is April 20th. Also has drawn the attention of the ACLU.
Probably to protect him, I'm guessing.
Yeah. In support of him, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like there's I think it was local store. I can't remember if it was local or not. I think it was local, where an HOA had a rule saying that your mailbox had to be of a certain color, and somebody had plastered an American flag on their mailbox, and everybody's up like, how dare you not let that man put an American flag on his mail? He's just trying to be patriotic. I'm like, yeah, but he also signed the rules of the HOA saying he was required to have a brown mailbox.
Yeah, when we were looking at homes and settled on this one, we didn't settle. I loved this house.
Yeah.
But when we bought this home, we had looked at a few other homes that were within HOAs, and I'm like, I really don't want to buy a house with an HOA.
You're required to have this high of a fence in this color, and your siding has to be this color, and you can't display any of this in your yard. So when people live in an HOA and they display flags on their yards, like, if your HOA says you're not allowed to display a flag, it's any flag. It doesn't fucking matter if you're trying to be patriotic or anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fucking rule.
Yep.
Yeah. This is a city ordinance, though, that's specifically about supporting candidates.
Yeah, and it's weird that they won't allow it that you're only allowed to have it up 30 days before the primary, which it sounds like a goofy law to me.
It does. And what about the importance of supporting somebody during that time and in the race? I mean,
and once again, I don't care.
I think they're wrong about that one.
People support. I just want people to get out and vote and take part in the process. Now, I might not agree with the person they're voting for, but
then you have a city ordinance that's going to quash all of that. I mean, they're like, nope, you can't even say that you're doing you're participating at all in this until 30 days. Well, it's too fucking late almost by then.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with the way that city ordinance they have. Maybe the whole process is to go in there and try to get the city ordinance changed.
Mm-hmm. That's what the guys have to try and do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In order for any hypothesis to be veridical, meaning it can be true or false, it has to be falsifiable. There have to be things you can say about your hypothesis which, if true, would make it false. If we found a black polar bear, the statement all polar bears are white would be falsified, right? We haven't yet, which strengthens the hypothesis. So I would ask you, what kind of statements could be made which, if true, would prove theism false? If you can't do that, you don't even have, not only do you not have a coherent definition, you don't even have a coherent hypothesis of this being that you are arguing for.
So we got, I think, two more. I've got this one, and you've got one. Which one should we do first?
I don't care. Mine's the de Blasio Hillary one.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do this one then. Well, I don't know. The de Blasio have you got a fun take on it?
Not really.
No? Okay.
I don't know. Why?
Well, do we want to end on something that's completely fucking ridiculous or
probably.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you do yours then.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio and Democratic presidential frontrunner Hillary were forced to defend a joke made by the mayor at a charity dinner that critics considered racially offensive. The incident occurred Saturday night. It's Saturday Night Live.
Live from New York.
God's a boob man.
When Clinton and de Blasio took part in a skit at the Inner Circle Dinner, a black tie event in which New York City's political press corps and politicians spend the evening making fun of each other. Which sounds weird to me already. Politicians get together and perform skits for each other?
They shouldn't. They're not good at it.
Yeah, it's
Let comedians do that for you.
The whole thing sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah. Clinton took the stage ostensibly to thank de Blasio, a former aide, for his belated endorsement of her for the Democratic nomination. Quote, "Took you long enough," Clinton said. Man, they really are hilarious. De Blasio responded, "Sorry, Hillary, I was running on CP time."
Yeah.
What is CP time? That's weird.
The
That's not
phrase
Central Central
Confederate
No.
Pacific.
Cartman's
Penis.
Cartman's. No, that's I don't know it. What is CP time?
Create fellatio.
No, that doesn't start with a P.
That's an F. I was going with the PH pronunciation of it.
Common people.
The phrase
Oh yeah, common people.
popular in pop culture is popular in pop culture? Duh, dude. What do you think pop in pop culture means? Stupider. In pop culture is a reference to the stereotype that African Americans are typically late for appointments. Yes, it stands for colored people time.
Oh, that's really bad.
Yeah, that's not good.
Broadway actor Leslie Odom Jr., who was also on stage with Clinton and de Blasio and appeared to be in on the joke, said, I don't like jokes about that, Bill.
It's not like they didn't even say black people time. They said colored people time.
I know.
Well, the problem is they wrote this out.
Yeah.
They probably practiced this and thought
Reviewed
this
it.
will be funny.
Yeah.
And at no point did they think, should we not
This is
say
gonna
colored
knock them
people?
dead in the stands, I tell you what. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Like, couldn't they have used it called it Trump time and made a joke about Donald being late to something or made fun of a Republican in a way or something?
So Clinton then turned to Odom and delivered the punchline. Cautious politician time.
Yeah, no.
I've been there. Yeah. So that was a payoff that was totally worth all the racially charged overtones.
Not a good idea.
Brilliant.
This is a really fucking terrible idea.
Yes.
Who okayed this?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, get on that. Get on it, man.
In here. I'm sure it's one of their many black friends.
Yeah.
Said it was okay.
I have lots of black friends who said it would be fine.
Bill de Blasio's wife, though, is
a colored person.
Oh, Jesus.
God, that made me cringe. I can't. Yeah,
I even balked on black for that one.
Yeah, it's fucking awful.
The joke was widely criticized in the media and the New York Magazine, calling it amazingly unfunny, terribly executed. Yep. Left-leaning website Salon called it cringeworthy. Yep. As did The Root, which bills itself as a site for black news, opinion, politics, and culture. So, what are the right-wingers saying about this, I wonder? Will they criticize the racism?
What's wrong with calling the colored people time?
Yeah. I wonder.
We all know them colored people's late all the time. What the hell's the problem?
True.
I don't know. I thought Hillary is funny as hell that one time. That's one thing I was like, okay, maybe I can get behind this woman.
'Cause they're always late to the cross burnings.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
Was that too far?
Oh, my God.
Too far?
That's maybe just, I don't know, a mile or 500 over the line.
Okay.
You hit the tip of the iceberg.
Jesus. Oh, God.
I thought we were going there.
No, we're trying to bring it back from there.
I have that problem where I go there.
Yeah. Well, she still went on to win New York, so
yeah.
Oh,
I was just thinking about that because there's a new CNN show coming up, and one of the advertisements for the first episode is the first black guy to ever participate or show up to a KKK cross burning.
What?
Yeah, it's a new show on CNN. I can't remember the guy's name that's on it. Hannibal. No, it's not Hannibal. It's a comedian that's got a new show on CNN where he takes and goes around and does different stuff with different people. In the first episode, apparently he's hanging out with the KKK.
Are you sure it's not Hannibal?
It might be him. I'm trying to think if it was him or not.
Hannibal Buress?
Yeah. It's a new show coming up on CNN at the end of the month, and that was the commercial for the first episode.
I've not seen any of that. It's a comedian?
Yeah.
So, it sounds like it's not is it a recurring show?
It sounds like it's going to be a new recurring show, kind of like where he goes around and experiences different parts of cultures, and the first episode is him hanging out with the KKK, going to a cross burning. And he's just, you see him, see all the guys in the hoods and everything, and the cross is burning, and he's just kind of like, oh shit.
This may not have been the best idea for my first and possibly last show.
I'm glad I got a camera crew.
Jeez.
Damn.
The second absence and this is probably the biggest one, the second absence is the absence of evidence for a God. If there were evidence for a God, we would have seen it tonight. It would have been on the table. Jerry would have said, here's the evidence for a God, not evidence against evolution. That's just a gap.
So the last thing we've got comes to us from Right Wing Watch. The title of the story is, Did Satanic Giants Build Stonehenge?
Yes.
Which I'm sure was the case.
Yes.
Clearly.
It wasn't midgets.
This has to be true.
Yeah.
But you do have to hand it to short people sometimes.
Because regular people can't lift those big rocks. It had to have been satanic giants.
If it wasn't
It's the only rational explanation.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for little people, we wouldn't have those cool grabber hand things, the little extension arm things that reach up and grab stuff on high shelves.
Tall people can use them too.
I know. I can just be lazy and use it.
The story says, televangelist Jim Baker, producer of Slop Buckets, invented Dennis Lindsay onto his program on Wednesday to discuss...
He invented him?
Oh, well...
You're starting to talk like me.
He's marketing them.
You're struggling tonight. No, you said he invented his friend onto the show.
I'm tired. I've been really busy doing things and junk.
Yeah.
Anyway, he invited Dr. Dennis Lindsay onto his program on Wednesday to discuss Lindsay's latest discovery in the realm of creation science. The latest discovery in the realm of creation science.
Yeah.
The whole thing is giggle-worthy. The truth behind Stonehenge.
Oh, finally.
Hold on to your hats. Stonehenge, it turns out, was built by giants who were created by Satan.
Oh, man.
What purpose?
To create Stonehenge, of course.
It's so satanic.
This is one of those things that, excuse me, that as soon as he says it, you just go, why did it take us so long? Of course.
You smack your forehead, you're like, oh, it's so clear to me now.
The answer was there, right there, all along.
Staring us right in the face.
I always figured if we went to Stonehenge and we sacrificed a young virgin in the middle of Stonehenge, we would open up a portal to hell and Satan would return.
The answer has been staring us right in the face the whole time, smacking us with its gigantic satanic dick right in the forehead.
I knew you were going there. If you didn't, I was going to.
Lindsay told Baker that these giants were tools of the devil. Well, clearly he made them. Who seek to destroy Israel because, quote, he's out to destroy God's creation and his whole plan of redemption and contaminate the human race.
Where is Stonehenge located? Like Scotland?
It's in England.
England. What the fuck does that have to do with Israel?
I don't know how to answer that. But Satan wants to, quote, have his own seed and make his own family, Lindsay explained.
Wait. He can create fucking giant demons to build rock monuments, but he doesn't know how to make a seed?
Or just create his own family that aren't giants?
Yeah.
And so he created a race of giants who would attack Israel. Quote,
from Europe.
Yeah. It says, I don't know if this is a typo or if the guy actually said this, but it says, he build his little instead of built, he build his little squatter's hut up there on the Temple Mount. You know that temple. the one with all the shiny things. Because he knows what the Bible says about that place, he said. I weaved through why and what is the evidence for giant beings on this earth.
I bet you did. All the evidence, yeah.
We all know about Stonehenge, right? That's just one of hundreds and hundreds of gigantic places around the world that testify that some sort of supernatural power or giants were involved in its construction.
No.
That's clearly the answer.
Yeah, that's just as much as it leads you to aliens.
I've seen a guy on video recreate Stonehenge in his backyard by himself with no modern tools.
Liar. It couldn't happen. It had to have been satanic giants. Or did he use satanic giants to do it?
No, he used a, what is it called? I was going to say,
fulcrum?
Fulcrum. Yeah. I was thinking fulcrum in my head. I'm like, wait, fulcrum or falcon?
He used the Millennium Falcon.
That's how I'm like, it wasn't the Millennium.
To drag the rocks into place.
I just watched Star Wars again the other day, so Yeah, I had a Wookiee in my head.
Oh, and that's you confuse a spaceship for simple machines.
Yes,
that's what happened. Man, sci-fi back in the day would have been shit, right?
But look at that lever and fulcrum. Oh my god!
The maniac pulley.
What I tried to do is I tried to weave through there the reason that giants were infiltrating Israel, and why Satan has been.
Giants were infiltrating
what
Israel?
Proof of this besides photoshopped images do we have?
None. Nothing.
Zero. Yeah.
Dude, not only that, but your pronunciation, man. Like, seriously,
Israel.
there's two vowels right there. All you have to do is, I mean, you don't even have to say them both. Just pick one. But you is not one of them. Israel. It's like, just hurry and get through that section as fast as I can, because I'm from Texas, I can't read. So there's two vowels, I don't know what to do. It's going to be you from now on. Israel.
Israel.
And look at what he's advertising
Y'all know what I'm
there.
talking about.
He's advertising for some DVDs for $65 fucking dollars. What a ripoff.
$65 for the Return of the Nephilim. plus two bonus books and DVD.
Is it the New and Old Testament?
Maybe.
Oh, Jesus.
He's got to separate them out, though.
Yeah.
It's not just the Bible, it's the New Testament and the Old Testament.
Uh-huh.
Why Israel has been hated passionately by so many nations.
Because they're assholes.
Does Satan hate what's going on in this little nation and it still survives? And why did he have these giant beings?
Look at all those fucking slop buckets.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Slop buckets littering the whole stage.
It's lousy with them.
These giant beings trying to wipe them out. And it's all about... He's out to destroy God's creation and his whole plan of redemption and contaminate the human race, because Jesus came not to save hybrids or non-human beings or fallen angels or Lucifer. He came to save human beings and to have
I
a
don't know
family.
what he's talking about.
What the
These
fuck?
hybrids?
So now they've got a quote, Luke 19:10, "For the Son of Man is come to seek and to save that which was lost." Giants weren't lost, I guess.
No. I guess it was my car keys.
The hybrids and the seeds of Satan weren't lost. They knew right where they were. It was all the humans. It was like, where did the humans go?
Costco.
I don't know where the humans went. Where did all the humans go? All I see are giants and Satan's seed everywhere.
It's funny, all these words that Christians use, they sound like fucking infants. Like, Son of Man. Like, don't bother giving him a goddamn name. It's just like, oh, it's a man. He has a son. That's Son of Man right there, Son of Man. And then they're like, well, what about the big guy? Like, what's it? God. Yeah, what's his name? That's my God. Yeah, but what about it? That's my dog. That's my cat. That's my God. Son of Man, God.
See, God's up there, dog's down there. Dog is God backwards.
Yeah, but it's like, pick a fucking name, dude. You sound like a goddamn infant. Son of Man.
Satan is out to destroy that and have his own seed.
Oh, the
and
devil?
make his own
The devil?
family, and he wasn't going to try to do that. He knows what the...
God,
he was gonna try to do that.
Satan has his own family. It's called Jesus.
He was gonna try to do that.
family, and he wasn't going to try to do that. He knows what the Bible has said about Israel.
Israel.
That it is the place where God has chosen to live forever. So he's out to build the little squatter's hut up there on the Temple Mount, you know, that temple, because he knows what the Bible says about that place. So
squatter's
this is what
hut.
I did. I weaved through there. Why? And what is the evidence for giant beings on this earth? We all know about Stonehenge, right?
Yes.
And that's just one
That
out
lady
of
does.
hundreds and hundreds of gigantic places around the world that testify
big.
that some sort of supernatural power or giants were involved in its construction.
What the fuck? You know who else is Satan? Trump.
It's
Look
one
at
of
all
those
those giant constructions.
Big place,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All of the skyscrapers around now were clearly built
Built
by
by
gigantic
Satan
satanic beings.
Yep.
Called cranes.
It's the only, that's where the evidence leads. He's weaved through it all.
Jesus.
Did he weave
I
and zig and
documented in
zag?
this book involved in its construction. And I documented in this book.
And he documents it in his book.
Fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yep.
Oh my. Well, I reckon that about wraps things up. What are you?
I just have one paragraph.
Okay.
Did you guys hear?
Yes.
Did you guys? Obviously, that debate is not going to happen. Too bad.
Which one?
The one with Bill Nye and Sarah Palin on it.
No, that was fake. That was fake anyways.
Yeah. But she did say that she's just as much of a scientist as Bill Nye.
Yeah. Because he just had a science show for kids.
And she can see Russia from her house.
Yes. Yeah. And basically, no.
No.
I mean, just not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Anyway, that's all.
Oh. That was your one paragraph?
Yeah. I just want to say no, not even close.
No. Sorry, Sarah, you fail.
Do you even science, Sarah?
No, she doesn't at all.
No. She doesn't even politic, and that's like
she can't even figure out why her daughter keeps getting pregnant when she taught her abstinence only.
It's the satanic giants.
Satanic giants with their seed. Her legs just keep opening and the seeds just keep falling in. But we be blessed with all of our Satan children.
I think, but her children do average out to 46 and a third chromosomes, don't they? I think. Is that does she have 3 or 4? I guess.
Is it that high? I don't know. 46 and what?
Yeah, 47 is Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean among the Palin family. Is the average that high? I don't know.
One less and you're kind of dead.
Or it's the extra one that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a long day. So we'll end the show now.
Those don't equate to IQ points, Dan.
You're right. And I'm just going to...
bashfully stroke his keyboard.
That's what I'm doing right now.
All right.
If you have questions, comments, concerns, compliments, corrections, or concepts for content, contact the show via email at godlessrevolution@gmail.com, by text or voicemail at 330-81-REBEL, or Twitter the twatter at TGI Podcast. Thanks, bitches.
Bye.
Well, thank you both very much for being here tonight. I have a really good time doing the show.
We do.
In the future, Atheists of Utah is scheduling an event with Dr. Richard Carrier on May 25th. He will be speaking about the intersection of polyamory and humanism. So that should be interesting. We've got a fairly large...
And how that relates to the first century Romans.
Yeah, we've got a fairly large polyamorous community here in Utah, particularly within the atheist community, because it's not a sin. It bothers me when people say atheism is a religion or as a faith also, all that nasty, ridiculous bullshit. But
the rejection of faith.
So that's something to look forward to soon. We've also got some other exciting guests coming up that we'll be announcing in the near future. We're going to be starting season 3 next month.
Technically, yeah.
So episode 104 will start season 3. May.
Cool.
The beginning of May will be season 3. It'll be exciting.
Yeah.
We've got some other exciting announcements coming up. It should be a good time. Be sure to stay tuned and pay attention. And we have some other news coming out soon that will be exciting that I'm sure you'll all be very curious and excited about. You're curious now. You'll be excited later when we tell you about it. So, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you all next week.
Have fun, y'all.
I'm going to go sleep for a little while.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. That'll learn you.
Fucking books. They never help.
Instrumental. That's what they call it in the rap world.